Hello, hello. Welcome all, welcome one. This is a two-part series of Mercury's transit in Aries. I will be doing 6 zodiac signs in this video. I'll be doing Aries, Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn, Sagittarius, and Scorpio. In part 2, I'll be doing the other 6 signs. I do recommend going to check out that introduction when that's out, because I'll be bringing in examples of people who have Mercury in Aries and other things, as well as talking about the crystals that have come through. But before we get going, let me just light this candle, this road opener candle, to Mercury. So Mercury is the messenger of the gods. It's it is the neutral planet of all the planets in our solar system. It can flit from one side to another. As I said, it's the messenger of the gods. It was the only god that could go to the underworld other than Pluto. And yeah, very much a big part of who we are, how we communicate, how we think, how we connect things together. As I said, this is a road opener candle. Mercury likes to protects travelers and people who move around, very much wanting flow in our lives. Mercury's in Aries right now. I've certainly noticed over the last couple of videos that I've been doing while Mercury's been in Aries that I have wanted to swear. I'm British. I've said repeatedly, this is what we do. We drop swear words in left, right, and centre. It's just part of the way that we communicate. But I try my best to not let them out in these videos. I do want to keep them clean, even though I do appreciate a good swear word. I think it has good impact. It has weight to it. It's not that I'm prudish in that sense. But there's Mercury in Aries, right? So I'm a bit all over the place at the moment. Something big happened earlier today. I really recommend checking out the spring equinox and Aries new moon video. I break down a lot of what's going on in the stars right now, especially that Aries dynamic and the fact that we've got 2 new moons in Aries happening. We've just had the first one on the 21st of March. We're going to have one on the 19th or 20th of April, depending on where you live. And that's a hybrid eclipse. Big energy. We've got a lot of action in Aries right now. So I recommend checking those out, where I go into things in way more detail. And also the Saturn series, part 1 of the all 12 signs. I talk about the importance of Jupiter being in Aries, having an impact on Saturn in Pisces. So this is just a lot that's going on right now. Mercury has been in Aries since the 18th or 19th of March, depending on where you live, and will leave on the 3rd of April. So this is a quick turnaround for very speedy, very fast. I've also noticed the speed at which words were coming out of my mouth, thoughts, just so much fire energy, so much passion, motivation, drive, but speed. Aries is wanting to start things, do things, move through things quickly. There's huge independence, autonomy. It's ruled by Mars. Can be quite likes competition, can be very direct, can be very straightforward. There can be very little masks, that you can just be wanting to get to the point, get over things, move on. It's time to go. It's time to go. And so, as I said, Mercury is going to be in Aries for not very long at all. But that is because it's going to move into Taurus and on the 3rd of April. And we'll be there for 2 months, because Mercury's going to retrograde. So we've got this fast, quick turnaround of the first zodiac sign, of the I am, the individual spark, the who you are, how you like the thoughts that will be coming through your mind during this time is really getting you into touch with who you are as a person, that spark of who you are, that spark of spirit. Big manifestation, changing energy, big inspirational ideas, eureka moments coming through. I've pulled a couple of cards for Mercury in Aries just before doing this reading. And yeah, some interesting messages came up. This one was left over from Was this the Sun in Aries? I think this was the Sun in Aries series. Sorry, there's a lot of content that's come out recently. There's so much shift in the stars right now, so much change, so much change. Pluto moved sign yesterday. Mars is going to move signs tomorrow. We've got a full moon in Libra coming up. I'll be doing videos on all of these. It's just, I do apologize if I'm a little scattered in for where this has come from, because I think it's the Sun in Aries. I recommend checking that out as well. The Sun is in its exaltation in Aries. We've got big Aries energy coming through, just pretty ferocious right now. But these are the two cards that I pulled from the Mystical Shaman Oracle deck, and it's just quite interesting dynamics coming through, and I really I'm going to read from the book so you can get an understanding of what's going on. Completion. The essence. All things have a beginning, a middle, and an end. This is the nature of life, the seed, the flower, and the fruit, and of all human relationships. Completion suggests the fullness of the moment and the need to transform from an old form into a new one. So one of the things that came through when I was doing the spring equinox, which happened on the 20th of March, which is spring, a big boost of energy from the earth. It's for me, it's the first cross quarter square when things start to get into motion. And I also talked about the two new moons, and one of the main messages that was coming through of we're going through a really quick regeneration stage, and then the quantum leaps of transformation will be coming about starting their cycle. With that second new moon in Aries. We've also going to have the nodes move into Aries in July and into Libra. So again, all the other videos where I've talked about Aries is really sort of setting you up with an understanding of how the nodes are going to shift and change. So so many planets have sort of started a new cycle in Aries. They're closing out in Pisces. Saturn's in Pisces. This is why this dynamic is important, because Jupiter rules Pisces. So what's going on with Jupiter's in Aries, is affecting Saturn right now, and that's big. So much energy has come through in all the readings about karmic clearing. We're shifting gears, we're clearing out old stuck energy that we don't even realize is there, that is getting in the way of our true I am, the Aries energy. And then we've got all these path clearers happening, all the benefics. Venus was just in Aries, she's now in Taurus. She's really helping you to get into tangible sense of the passions and motivations that you've been discovering. I really recommend checking out those videos. It's not because I want more views and more content watched, it's just generally the energy right now, what's going on in the stars is insane. I was going to swear. Is insane. Venus is, every main aspect she makes is activating the 4 eclipses we had last year. Crazy, absolutely crazy. And then Mercury's going to be hanging out there for 2 months. So everything's interlinked. It's all amazing. I love it. It's so transformational. I'm genuinely so truly madly, deeply in love with the astrology right now, even if the world outside seems absolutely bonkers. Again, kept meaning to swear. Maybe they want me to swear. Okay, the invitation with the completion card. You have finished a cycle. There is no more growth or benefit from hanging on to the old. Again, that Aries energy, change, move on. And we're being supported to do that and take what is truly ours forward, and release that which, a lot of generational traumas, curses, if you want to use the word, spells, lots of past life stuff that's been hanging on, stuff for you in your life that's felt like it's been, that heavy energy is getting cleared out, burnt out. In regards to relationship, it's time to honor what has been. Oh, that reminds me, sorry. I know I'm going all over the place. I recommend checking out I know, all these recommendations, blah, 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 blah. The Aries reading for the Sun in Aries transit, because I ended up doing some candle magic, and the whole reading felt like a very collective reading, and some candle magic happened. So yeah, if you're into that kind of thing, if you want to have that energy transfer, I do recommend going and watching that. In regards to relationships, it is time to honor what has been and find a new form for the future. In your ventures, it is time to reap your harvest. Completion is a time for celebration. It is the end of summer when the fruit is ripe. That's sort of like a metaphor of what's going on. We're completing. The cycles are changing and shifting. We're able to move forward with what we need to and feel in that state of abundance of I am, of who I am. The medicine, clinging on to the old form will bring only decay. When fruit is left too long on the vines, it rots. You know that it's time to move on, yet you are reluctant. Do not be afraid of hurting anyone's feelings. Remember that you are responsible for your actions and not the actions of others. Mourn what is lost so you can move on. Do not be sad. Be like the sun at midday who shines brightly, neither longing for sunrise nor dreading the dusk. Again, that's sort of saying really stepping into your own power of your own voice, your own true voice. We got the Nightingale card from the Kim Krantz Wild Unknown Animal Spirit book, which I will read from in a second. But all of these are sort of coming together of really allowing yourself to be in your truth of who you are, being able to speak your mind. You may be a bit combative in the way that you're speaking. You may be very just less masks around, and it may cause conflict to come up, but conflict isn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes we can be overly sensitized to conflict in our relationships and our environment that we pacify, and the more that we sort of, this is something that I learn of very much trying to minimize all conflict, because I had abandonment issues that if conflict turned up, it would be that person no longer loves me and is going to leave me kind of vibes. Very heavy stuff. And the more I've lent into being able to take on that Aries energy of expressing myself, and yes, conflict may come up, but it tends to disperse quite quickly. And you're teaching your body, Venus is in Taurus right now, you're teaching in your body that it's safe in that space rather than getting triggered by that. And really being able to then really open up to that letting go of moving over things and getting through things and completing that phase of being in that space of holding on. Or yeah, very much, you know, letting go in terms of transmuting that energy to open up into something new. Yeah, right. So the vision quest. Bear with me. The essence. In the vision quest, you face your fear, embrace your mortality, and then meet face to face with spirit. When we feel stagnant, a vision quest brings our lives into perspective. We realize our flaws, our potential, and the opportunities life is now offering us. We remain on a vision quest until we find the key to open a new door or write a new chapter in our lives. So very much sort of embracing the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, I always talk about let's be real with ourselves, as well as hold deep compassion for not only ourselves but everyone around us and everything that's going on. And this stagnant energy is clearing out, is moving forward. There's so much energy out there. I've really noticed out in the world, there's a lot of movement, and also people are really open and being friendlier, which wasn't something that I expected, but definitely just sort of a willingness to engage with each other on a one-to-one basis, rather than, you know, I live in London. There's a lot of lacking of eye contact. It's something that I really practiced during COVID time of smiling at people. And one of my favorite things to do is to wish people a happy day, a happy evening, a happy week. And it's also heartbreaking at the same time, because you can kind of tell in a lot of people's responses and the tone in which they're replying is they don't get said that they don't get seen in that way very often. That sense of appreciation from a stranger is not as common as it should be. I really feel this is a time to engage one-to-one with people and show them that they're seen and that they are loved, and that we are all these individual forms running around we are the universe manifest, but in our own individual forms, and we are all beautiful creatures, like just just so much gratitude for our species. It's ridiculous, even though we are also utterly hideous. But we're amazing. We're so good, guys. We're so good. The invitation: find clarity by spending time in nature. If you live in a city, go for walks in a park. If you live in the country, make sure that you spend time outside in contemplation. Get off the couch, get away from your desk, go outside. I love that this came up because part of me was kind of like, well, this kind of feels like Mercury in Taurus, but we are in springtime, and it can be asking us that this vision quest may take a little while, and that we're moving through having had the vision of then spending time in nature to embody it later on, but really being asked to be like moving, walking around in nature, giving space, having that momentum for allowing the divine thoughts to come through, the divine inspiration to come through from the outside world. Spirits help those who help themselves. So set your intention to ask nature for a guiding vision for your life. Walking your talk. Not expecting everything to be handed on a plate. We have to engage. Aries energy wants to experience life through their own sense of embodiment, rather than seeking out other people's opinions, seeking out advice. Admittedly, it is just asking you to ask for advice from spirit, but by doing so in an embodied way of movement, of being out in nature, which we are it, and really acknowledging that sort of animal part of who we are. Yeah. Okay, so the medicine is: spirit has been trying to contact you but received no answer. You are too busy with your life and there is too much noise in your head. Do not miss the call again. Make room for quiet time this evening. Allow yourself to become bored for a little while, and you'll be able to hear the important messages trying to get through. Again, there's that space of the speed at which these thoughts, the inspirational speed of which these thoughts can go through, that sometimes we do need, we can have that unintegrated side of Aries of do, go, not finishing anything, and like just being very consumed with consumption of movement and ideas, that we can hold that space for movement and passion and creativity coming through, but it doesn't mean that we have to be rushed. We're capable of being multifaceted beings that can bring in a sense of duality. You know, Mercury being the road opener doesn't mean that you have to be frenetic. I'm just also, it's perhaps because I'm recording this on Friday, this is Venus's day, I'm getting Venus's vibe quite a lot for this transit, which doesn't, and that's on an intuitive basis, because the astrology isn't necessarily matching that up, because Mars rules, actually, that's sort of, okay, Mars rules Aries, right? And so Mars is going to move into Cancer tomorrow. So for the rest of Mercury's trip through Aries is going to be governed by Mars being in Cancer, our emotional being, our emotional needs, governed by the moon. So the moon's transits are going to have a bit of an impact on Mars and therefore on Mercury. Venus isn't really linked into anybody because she's in her own realm. She's very strong right now, which could be arguably why a lot of her energy is coming through, that she, unlike anybody else, she's not governed by anybody else's energy. She's really very loud and proud right now. She's also tapping into the nodes and the eclipses, and the eclipses and the nodes are going to be moving into Aries and Libra. So yeah, I can see why the astrology would link up, but there isn't like a really direct thing of, oh, Mercury's being affected by Venus during this transit. It's just there's a sense of connection here that I'm just getting. There's a lot of nature, there's a lot of asking to be in nature, but we are also, as I said, dealing with spring here. So it's that first, everything's growing, everything's energetic, there's definite movement going on. Right, the nightingale. Fearless voice, speech, communication, or song. This, I just thought, was such a beautiful card to come through for Mercury in Aries of being very true to how you communicate and your voice. And again, Venus is in Taurus. It's linked to the throat. It's very much linked into getting in touch and bringing harmony to our voice, while we have this very passionate, independent Mercury moving through Aries. The song of the nightingale is otherworldly. This simple brown bird, almost unnoticeable among the flashy plumage of the other birds, transports its listener to the realm of poetry. Nightingale energy is with us when we write, compose, and especially when we sing. It reminds us that music heals the deepest wounds. This card indicates a need to open the bridge between the heart and the voice. Is there something you need to say? Again, we've got Chiron in Aries as well, clearing out a lot of wounds. We've got Jupiter there, elevating our wounds, of like clearing those out in order to be able to get in touch with our voice. I have said this before on the channel, I'll say it again. Since I started really doing the integral inner work and putting things into practice, picking myself up and trying again over and over and over, my voice used to be very tight, very off key, crackly. There wasn't space there. I would never be able to sing a tune by myself. I could sing in a choir, but by myself, my voice was not coming out. Now, my voice is not, it's not amazing, but it's certainly growing and growing and growing in strength, and I'm able to be in key. I'm able to sing in a way that doesn't cause me physical pain. That link between Venus and Taurus with our throat and Mercury in Aries, the way we communicate, our spirit, our getting in touch with our true voice, this is all coming together. And the more that we work and understand our heart, which is trining, is in Leo, which is trining this Aries energy, because Leo rules the heart, that the more our voice is able to come out, the more we are more autonomous and individual in our voices. Is there something you need to say? How long has it been since you sang? Turn it up, write it down, and let it out. When in balance, sings, speaks freely, but with kindness. So, you know, it doesn't mean that conflict isn't kind. It's all about the intention of what it is that you're trying to communicate, even if it is a bit fiery. If you're just trying to make someone feel bad or or you're just trying to be right, that's not tapping into the warrior defender spirit of Mars ruling Aries and Mercury being in a Mars-based sign. Like, what are you going to war for? Is it worth it in the long term? You know, we're dealing with the god of war, Mars here, ruling Mercury, and currently Mars is in a Mercury sign in Gemini, so they're sharing each other's energy of short-term fights, no, long-term goal, legacy, yes. And this is where this comes in. This is the one. This was the main end card of where we're headed after the two new moons. This is non-duality, one love. Our ability to experience this archetype firsthand is limited. It comes in brief and potent moments that we are left to savor for a lifetime. The one is both the energy that unites all living beings and our capacity to sense this intimate union. This archetype eludes us most of our lives, appearing as a concept in a distant galaxy. Yet when we are in the midst of its power, a solemn reverence falls across all the land. We glimpse ourselves in the vastness of all consciousness and are neither small nor large within that field. We are neither important or unimportant. All duality fades away and we are left with what is the precious knowing that life is a gift and we are both the giver and receiver of this fortune. So basically that's saying, be good to people, care about yourself, accept reality, be aware of the illusion. You know, be aware that we are all connected and yet all separate at the same time. And this is why I kept talking about all the suggestion videos, because so much of this is important for our evolutionary transfer right now. We've had a lot of our autonomous rights being infringed upon over the last couple of years. I mean, it's been going on for absolutely forever, but really, really highlighting right now of how are we gonna move forward with strength and courage. Courage is a big thing with Aries. Right. So I will be there will be four piles, no, 5 piles, my bad, for each rising sign, one for the energy of Mercury in Aries, 3 different piles for each of the 3 main aspects that Mercury's making, and the final pile for how these energies are going to manifest moving forward. I recommend, for those of you who know your time of birth, you check out your rising sign first. The rising sign is, I work with the whole house system, so each sign has a whole house to itself. So the first house is your rising sign. I also recommend checking out your sun or your moon or your Mars or your Mercury, or basically any of the signs. We have all of the signs in our chart. They'll just affect different areas of your life. When I'm talking about aspects in the rising signs, and how the energies talk to one another, this will still apply to you even if you don't have that rising sign. As I said, just be in a different area of your life. The energies like to do energy work during these readings. I will be shuffling. I'll be talking about the aspects and shuffling, and then when I finished talking about the aspects, we'll see where the cards want to go. The energies and I will want to move. We will want to move the cards around, and then potentially move them around and do some energy work. During these moments, I very likely I won't be speaking because I will be channeling, and it's a bit difficult to channel, think and talk at the same time. Not always, but especially in these moments it very much is. So do bear with me with that. I'll tend to get energetic releases. It's all part of the process because the energies will integrate the messages that are coming through on subtle levels. I completely forgot to say who I am. My name's Chloe, and this is all the cards on the table, and I work with card divination, astrology, and I channel energies through my body. I really do apologize. Well, I don't apologize. I'm definitely in a bit of a funny space today, but I'm enjoying it. So hopefully you guys are too. I really appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate the energy transfer. It means a lot to me. YouTube isn't pushing long content much at the moment, understandably, with the other apps it's having to deal with in terms of competition. Very Aries energy. So if this resonates, please do hit that like button. Please share, hit the subscribe if you're new to the channel. I put out a lot of content, and there's a lot more to come. For regulars, if you fancy typing all the cards on the table in the search bar rather than going directly from notifications, and that would really help because that pushes the algorithm more, as does watching one video after another. I'm suggesting these things just because these are things that can help. I have no expectations of what you do, and I do this because I love it, and I very much want us all to have as much information as we possibly can in order to make informed, autonomous decisions about the energy that's at play, how we can shift that energy, how we can use it to our own soul's benefit. Sorry about that. I just had to pause the video because there was someone at the door, and I think I was talking about how much I love what I'm doing, and wanting to get as much information from the universe as possible about the cosmic weather and how we can see what's coming up and be able to shift that energy and then get it in line with our soul's journey. Crazy times right now, guys. And on that note, I'm going to start with Aries. Aries rising. How you doing, Aries? Whoa, got it. Now we got Mercury. So much in your sign, guys. As I said in the introduction, for those of you who are just tuning into the Aries energy and don't have an Aries rising, when I talk about the aspects and how they're talking to one another, this will still apply, just in a different area of your life. But for Aries rising, goodness me, you got this happening in your first house. Your first house, this is the house of self. This is you, Aries. This is how you embody your sun or your moon in your deeds and your actions. This is your body and your appearance. This is the navigator of the chart. So this is how the ship, which is your... either your sun or your moon, it depends if you've got a day or a night chart, how it moves through this cosmic this cosmic soup that we're in. We are dealing with, it's also how other people see you. So we've got Mercury moving through your first house. Maybe you're talking a lot more to yourself. You're able to quickly embody your thoughts in your actions during this time. There's just a lot more confidence when we have planets going through the first house, especially the personal planets. You're very much focused more on perhaps how others see you, how you're communicating with others, and being able to transform during this time. As I said, like this Mercury transit, it's speedy but it's punchy. With that fire energy, it can be quite, there's just a lot of momentum. I talked about in the introduction this needing to sort of be in nature in order for ideas to come through. There's because of all this fire that we can get a bit lost in the movement, that there is a call to just be be a little mindful, be a little still, in order for the magic to come through, rather than getting crowded out by lots of here, there and everywhere. You've had a lot of stuff in your sign, Aries. This is where Venus is left, Jupiter's still there, the Sun is now there, Chiron is there. And Vesta's there, tending to your own hearth. So very there's just I can't imagine what it's like. I would love to hear from you. Just being, as I said, really being able to embody how you communicate, your sense of self, and being able to transform that, and really get in touch with the truest version of who you are and how you want to embody yourself. My hands have just gone over my heart chakra right now. Just thought I'd let you know. And because we're dealing with Aries, which is ruled by Mars, we look to where Mars is. And as I said in the introduction, Mars has been in Gemini for up to tomorrow, which will be the 25th, for the initial part of Mercury's journey through Aries. And so Gemini is a Mercury ruled sign. They're in mutual reception. They're talking to one another. So again, a lot of speed, a lot of fire and air, lots of speed. Fire and air complement each other. They aren't ruled by gravity, so there is a lot of need for direct action. They are day signs, and that's in your third house. That's Aries rising. But for Aries energy in general, that was it sextiles Mercury and Gemini and Aries sextile one another. A sextile is an aspect of Venus. She wants to bring beauty, harmony, creation, appreciation, love, connection, ease, sensuality. So we've had that support with Mars in Gemini since August, really, last year. But there's definitely there's a lot of movement there. There's a lot of action going. On Saturday, tomorrow, Mars is going to move into Cancer. Yeah, sorry. Just had a little brain blank there. Mars is going to move into Cancer. And Cancer squares Aries energy. You're both cardinal energies. Squares is an aspect of Mars. It brings about potential conflict, drama, and frustration. If this does happen, note it. Don't get stuck in that energy. Realize it's just part of the blueprints that are around right now. Look to see why these things are coming up and what's truly important to you long term. It helps you get to understand what your motivation is. The other aspect of a square is friction. We need friction in order for things to come into being in this 3D linear time frame. So a great time for getting stuff done, a great time for getting things to come out into the world. And you have Cancer, Aries rising in your fourth house. This is your home, foundations, roots, parents, private life, roof over your head. This is the intimate part of you in your downtime. So Mars moving through there's a lot more wanting to get in touch with your emotional needs and how you're motivated by them. I will be doing a separate video on that, so do go check that out if you feel so inclined. And this is squaring what's going on in Aries. So this inspiration that's coming through with Mercury is going to, with that Mars energy in Cancer, our emotional needs, our instincts, our how we nourish ourselves and how we nourish others, of really being able to connect that inspiration to our drive, our motivation, our need to take action in that frame, because Mars has moved from a day sign, Gemini, very action based, into a yin night sign, which is very receptive of wanting to collect information, bring things together in order to take action. So there will be a bit of a slowdown with Mars moving into Cancer tomorrow on the 25th. So all this freneticism is actually going to be facilitated, this wanting to get into nature of this slowing down from Mars. Because we're also dealing with a Mercury transit, we look to the signs that Mercury rules, and Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. Just talked about Gemini in your third house of communication, your local community, short distance travel, and learning about something new, but very much about communication here. The more we get in touch with how we communicate and what's true to who we really are, the more that kind of ripples out, and the community that we interact with reverberates on that level. And so things may come up in that area of your life because we're dealing with a Mercury transit. And what Mercury's doing in the first house of getting you to know your voice and how you embody that voice, is helping level up that third house of communication with Mercury ruling Gemini. We also have Mercury rules Virgo, which for you, Aries rising, is in your 6th house of work, health and routines. This is also co-workers. So what's going on with Mercury in Aries, as I said, in terms of being able to embody your own truth, be inspired by the things that you do. Other people may be inspired by the things that you do as well, and the way that you communicate and the things that you say. But this is going to help and have an impact on perhaps your working environment, your motivation and drive to instill the health routines or just general routines that you need in order to survive. The 6th house is a working house. It can be a bit difficult. It's in conjunct to your Aries energy. This is when they traditionally don't have things in common. I talk about this a lot at the moment. It's very, very prominent in that Aries new moon of their different elements, different modalities. And Aries is a day sign, Virgo's a night sign. So starting off the bat, they don't have like common denominator things to talk about, so it makes conversation a bit more awkward, a bit more frustrating, maybe crossed wires, you're not on the same page, but there's a real sense of unique ways of engaging with these energies, and you come up with unique ideas when you start bringing these things on together. And it's all about practice of contemplating what those energies mean, and what because we all have things in common, even if it doesn't seem obvious at first, that how do you get them to want to work together. So as I said, that Mercury transit is going to be helping level up your Gemini and Virgo area of your life, Aries. Right, so as I said, there's going to be 5 piles. One, we're talking about Mercury's journey through Aries, and then the aspects. So we've got 3 aspects, and the first aspect is on the 26th of March, and this is when Mercury is going to be conjunct Chiron at 15 degrees of Aries. So this is kind of a big deal. This is Mercury talking to the wounded healer. Chiron's been going through Aries for a while, helping us really get in touch with the wounds that we may have felt where we haven't been able to be independent, autonomous, and be able to be truly embodied senses of ourselves. And Mercury's coming along after Jupiter's talked to Chiron, after Venus's talked to Chiron, and really going, okay, hey buddy, what have you got to say to me? And also from Mercury's journey through Pisces, of being able to collect on an emotional level to our collective unconscious, of really being able to what was that card from? It's either one of these of letting go of things, of being able to clear the decks. Very much we're clearing the decks, being able to get in touch with our true voice, being able to use those wounds rather than be stuck with them, of transforming that energy of how we look at them in order for not only for us to heal on an individual level, but the more that we do that, the more that energy is accessible to the collective consciousness, the more that we walk in the world with integrity, without putting our own, there's just a more of an energetic flow, a chi flow, that we are then able to use what we have learned from those wounds in order to not only heal ourselves but heal others. So Mercury's going to be having a big old chat with Chiron at this time, and the Mars has moved into Cancer by now. So we're really dealing with our emotional motivations, the things that we want to defend during this time, of what it is that we care about, our emotional needs, our home, our environment. And how we are nourished, how others may have nourished us. So wounds may have come up about that, about not having your emotional needs met and not being nourished. Specifically because Aries rising, you do have this transit happening in your 4th house. We have a lot of trauma stored in our 4th house because we're dealing not only with our own childhood, our parents' childhood, our ancestors' childhood, our past lives. It's the root, it's the foundations of everything. So good clearing happening here. The same time, the moon will be in Gemini. So Cancer's now, Mars is now in Cancer, that rules Aries, and the Cancer is ruled by the moon, and the moon is in Gemini, ruled by Mercury. So we have a feedback loop between all of these energies of how the moon in Gemini, how we collect information, how we share that information, what's important to us. The moon, again, our emotional needs, being able to quickly process what healing happens during this time. It might be a good day to do some candle magic. Be safe if you're doing anything linked into fire, obviously. It doesn't just have to be about releasing. It can be about drawing in energy to help transmute things. Right. So that was the first aspect. The second aspect is happening either on the 27th or the 28th, depending on where you live. This is quite early on in the morning for the exact conjunction. But this is when Mercury is going to be conjunct Jupiter at 18 degrees of Aries. At the same time, the moon will be conjunct Mars. So moon in her own sign, having an impact on Mars. So it's kind of like, so with the chain that's happening, you're in Aries, Mercury and Jupiter in Aries. Where do we look to? We look to Mars, ruler of Aries. Where's Mars? In Cancer. Who do we look to? The moon. Where's the moon? In Cancer. So that's like the chain of command stops at the moon at this time. And so we're dealing with Mercury talking to Jupiter. What does Jupiter want to do? Jupiter is the greater benefic, wants us to elevate, wants to bring wisdom in, wants us to expand, is generous, wants a sense of drawing in universal truths in order to help us expand our sense of selves. Huge transit. Particularly, as I said, check out the Saturn series. Talk about that a lot. That's really sort of setting up this Saturn transit for us, and everything else that's going on. So Mercury talking to Jupiter. What does that feel like? Well, Jupiter is more about philosophies and sort of knowing about things. Mercury wants the details. So they're sharing. Mercury's like, oh well, I figured this out. I've worked this out. This is the information that I have. Here you go, Jupiter. What's your idea about things? Oh, this is how I feel. This is what I know about things. I'm gonna imbibe that sense of knowing into Mercury, so Mercury can kind of free up information in order to be able to connect emotionally, where we have Mars in Cancer, to how we feel about this transformation that's happening. A real great sense of wisdom being imparted. Mercury's going to move on quite quickly after that, so it's going to be able to take that info, move on quite quickly, and then the 2 travel cards come up. It is then going to start bringing that information that it's learning, because Jupiter isn't going to be there next year, and is not going to be there for another 12 years. So this is a big communication between Mercury and Jupiter in the sign of Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. This is really the information that Mercury's getting at this time is setting off the cycle of that it's going to make all the way through the rest of the zodiac. Jupiter's going to be moving into Taurus. I need to double check. 1 second. I've just used my brain and worked it out. I was just wondering off the top of my head if Jupiter and Mercury are going to meet in Taurus. They're not. Jupiter's moving in on the 16th, or they might do with the retrograde. Ignore me. There's a possibility. We'll get to that some other time. But essentially, this is still... if we go to Aries being the first zodiac sign of still very much starting a new cycle. We've had a completion period. We're moving on. We're changing gears. Everything's shifting with this, because Jupiter and Mercury, they both rule the mutable signs, the ability to adapt, and they oppose and square one another. And it's really it really helps to get these things on board in order for us to have unique ideas of acknowledging that there's that sense of belief without having to know all the small details and obsess over them, but also appreciating the fact that details that have an impact on how we communicate those beliefs and how we navigate those in our day-to-day. Right, so yeah, final aspect on the 30th of March. This is when Mercury is going to be conjunct Vesta at 22 degrees of Aries. Vesta is an asteroid. She is one of the oldest energies of the goddess. She's linked into the hearth, right? So communities gathered around a fire, so appropriate. She's in Aries right now. Gathering around a fire, and then that turned into the place where you cooked in your home, where people would gather around. Very, very potent archetypal goddess energy here of tending to your own I am flame, tending to your autonomy, tending to your sense of adventure, of exploration, of just really making your inner flame sacred. And so this is the last aspect that main aspect that Mercury's making in Aries. And so really communicating and receiving wisdom from Vesta about how to bring the magic into yourself. Mercury is the magician. We have the magician card came out right at the beginning of really being able to tend to your flame and being able to communicate that, because very quickly Mercury is going to move into Taurus, how we embody these things in a tangible 3D world. At the same time, the moon will be in Cancer, squaring this aspect. And so we have our emotional needs being able to come up with how we nourish our flame, and how we're able to bring that into some kind of ritual or practice. At the same time, the moon will be trine Neptune in Pisces. So, again, Mars is still in Cancer. So what's going on with the moon is like the last buck of the layers that we have here, and the moon is trine Neptune, so really asking us to. So Neptune is everything all at once. Neptune is all the frequencies, all the dimensions. This is real, this isn't real, it's illusion and delusion, but it's also very idealistic, very big dreaming, that sort of swimming around on the ocean. I see it as sort of the cosmic creative ocean field that we have, linked into the quantum field of dreaming big, being idealistic. We can be idealistic as well as being real at the same time. Sometimes we can get caught in that delusion space, but there's a lot of clarity here with all the fire really helping us be able to connect to our emotional needs, and what kind of dreams we want to have of how they can be satisfied and fulfilled. this is a big day as well for not only this, but on the same day, Venus will be conjunct Uranus. Go check out the Venus transit videos. I pull cards for that as well. And as well as that, we've got Saturn, trine, Mars. I've also pulled cards for that in the Saturn transit, and I will be pulling a card for that in the Mars transit. This is a lot. There's a lot going on at this time. So Mercury's talking to Vesta. How do we tend to our inner spark? Venus is talking. And the moon is squaring this, getting in touch with our emotional needs, trining an aspect of Jupiter, which is sharing inspiration, wisdom, elevation, growth. There's an ease here. Trining Neptune about thinking big, dreaming big. Venus conjunct Uranus, which is activating an eclipse point. I think it's activating the Taurus full moon. Yeah, I think it's the Taurus full moon that happened end of last year, which was huge, huge. And I'm going to do a video of when Uranus goes to that exact eclipse point that happened in 8th of November 2022. I'll be doing a separate video on that because Uranus is big energy, shake up energy. But Venus is talking to Uranus, really laying down flowers and going, how can we be creative and harmonious at the same time as very much our authentic selves? Saturn, trine, Mars. How do we emotionally connect to our long-term legacy? Big day, big day, big day. Right. Let's see what we've got a lot of cards here. Those are all the aspects. Let's see what's going on. So we want a minimum of 5, well, we want 5 piles. So I need to move that. Nope. Right, this way. The energies wanted the nightingale there, so let's try and rearrange. So the last couple of those of you who are regulars, for the last couple of video series, I've been really particular about where all these cards are going and how, like, getting them lined up so you can see them all. And I realize it's because I've got Venus in Taurus, and Taurus is in my 10th house of being very particular about how things look and feel. Do bear with me, Aries. Okay, so we have for Mercury traveling through Aries. So we've got these two difficult energies that are being transmuted and cleared and moved through and let go. There's a completion energy right now. So we've got the Five of Swords, which is very much fighting, but for what sake? So with Aries energy, you're ruled by Mars. So there's a sense of combativeness that there is part of your soul's journey. But really trying to work through that. So this is fighting, but at what cost? Yes, you may feel like you've won, but in the long term, how is this important? There's also this other side of conflict. Is this figure in the Nine of Wands is very much feeling battle worn. You've had to try and stand up for yourself. You feel like you've been attacked from the outside world, but you've stood true to who you are. You're able to really sort of clear through this, be true in who you are and where you're headed. But we've got the Ace of Swords coming up which is very perfect for Mercury energy. This is a new way of looking at things. This is bringing these things together, taking what works, obviously still being true to yourself, but moving past this need to be in competition, to need to fight your battles, of being very true to yourself. There's a clarity here that you don't need to defend yourself. You also don't need to feel that you've got to win at every cost. That you, by surrendering that energy, you are able to think more clearly and have more ideas and more transmute more clarity of who you are internally and how you embody yourself without needing to seek the outside world's approval, basically, which I know is probably something that you're very prominent in, with that being in your first house or just generally the Aries energy, but really clarifying that energy and making it stronger. Aces are very potent energy. They start a new beginning, a new way of thinking and being just a lot of inspiration coming through during this time. So we have for this is when Mercury's going to conjunct Chiron. And these, as I said, these are both journey cards. This is taking what's tried and tested, come through, and being able to go to a new space. If you see here, the water here has been very choppy, but now you're heading into clearer waters. And we also have the Eight of Cups. Again, another going on in a journey, having that transformation of leaving a space that might have felt comfortable is too strong a word. It just might have been the habits that you've been in that can feel comfortable but are also disruptive, and being able to go on that journey of self-discovery and finding a higher perspective, because this figure is about to go and climb that mountain, and being able to elevate that Aries energy. I've had the stag here for a while now, representing Jupiter in that sign. We've had Chiron and Jupiter there for a while, of really being able to tap into the wisdom of these things rather than the impulses. And we've got the moon here, which is kind of highlighting the fact that you do have two new moons in your sign, and being able to tap into that intuitive space, tap into perhaps the illusions that may have come about those wounds, and being able to transmute them and understand that they are part of your journey. There's a real sensitivity here with the moon. We'll also have, this is at the same time when Mars has moved into Cancer in your home life, of being able to work out what your needs are in your home, and being able to release that which isn't serving you during this time, because also the moon is in Gemini, of being able to transmute that energy very, very quickly in tap of your needs long term, not just the things that are comfortable, also not the situations that have been difficult, and really just being able to move through that. We have on the 27th or 28th of March, depending on where you live. Sorry, that one's on the 26th. This will all be in the description box, so you can go and check that out, write them down, and maybe be aware of what's coming up at the time. This is when Mercury is conjunct Jupiter at 18 degrees of Aries, and the moon will be conjunct Mars in Cancer. The Magician, very much about taking action, realizing that you have all your resources at hand, but like the thoughts and information that's going to come through when you're talking to Jupiter, this may take a little while to integrate. as Mercury moves forward. But the fact that we've got Mars conjunct the moon as well, of really being able to take those actions from an embodied space of your needs in your home, doing rituals in your home, creating magic in your home, manifesting at this time to elevate these wisdoms, to be able to become the magician, and be able to experience your world from a space of you are the creator. You are the creator of your own environment. You are able to, even if this might be a difficult journey, doesn't mean it's good or bad. It's about how you look at it. It's about how you look at it and be able to see the wisdom in the energies right now and how they're moving forward. On the 30th of March, we have the Hermit card. This is when Mercury is conjunct Vesta, tending to your own hearth, going inward. At the same time, this is squaring the moon in Cancer. So that's your private life of really drawing in this deep innate wisdom to the cycles of the earth. The Hermit is very much linked into nature, of tending to your own divine flame and really contemplating on how you want to tend to that flame, and being able to harness that ability to teach yourself. The energies that are coming through are helping to teach you your innate power and strength and wisdom. At the same time, that is trining. The moon is trining Neptune again, thinking big, contemplating different realities, different dimensions, and Venus is conjunct Uranus, that's in your second house of value system. What is it that you care about? Thinking maverickly and differently. We've got Uranus conjunct Venus, so Venus is wanting to bring about creative ways of thinking about your value system, what it is that you care about, really highlighting moving away from this energy, having a sense of stillness, having a sense of innate deep wisdom that's transmuting this space and being able to help you think in a completely novel way. At the same time, Mars is also trining Saturn in Pisces, which is in your 12th house, your hidden house, integrating all those different parts of who you are for your long-term motivation and embodied legacy in your private life, because we're dealing with that Mars energy of your motivations in your home, squaring your Aries energy. For the energies moving forward, we've got the Hierophant and the Ace of Pentacles. For me, because we're dealing with the first house for you, Aries energy, this is how you embody everything that you've learned and be able to express it in your deeds and your actions. And the Hierophant is be your own guru, basically. This is it's also linked into learning and social structures. So how do you apply the learning that you've done in order to facilitate not only yourself and your deep sense of wisdom here, but how that impacts the society that you're in, right? So we're moving from, where is it? This energy, which this in particular isn't doing anybody any favors. This is being able to think about how you interact with society differently so you don't feel exhausted and burnt out. And all of this feeding into how these energies moving forward of really feeling very much in your own power from a very collective space, but also a very magical space. Right, where was it? Let's get this one out. So I'm going to be pulling a couple of clarification cards, see if there's any messages that may have been missed in the tarot, or if there's a new message that wants to come through. This is the this is the numerology deck. Let's see what wants to come through for Aries with this. Okay, that's quite a few cards. We have environment and communication. How you respond to your environment and how you communicate based on that. Turning how you look at your environment, how your communication impacts your environment, and how that's shifting and changing and leveling up. Okay, the energy's being a bit weird. Yeah, so this is Mercury through that time, real getting in touch with your true voice in order to, again, we've got Venus and that Uranus conjunction in Taurus, getting in touch with your voice and how you're able to embody it. Right, I'm now going to pull some clarification cards from the First Light Tarot. This is a mixture of major arcana, question cards, and statement cards. So usually if I get statement or question cards, I'll keep shuffling. I'll keep pulling cards until we get a major arcana. Right, what energy wants to come through? Yeah, so for those of you who are tapping in who don't have Aries rising, as I said, look, you can look to where Aries is in your chart. Got the High Priestess, perception, hidden powers, reflection of ideas, and knowledge. So these two combined are bringing in the feminine and masculine aspects of knowing your own power and then how you use those tools in order to manifest. You know, for the first house, that's very important. But as I was saying, wherever Aries falls, you can apply all of this energy to that area of your life. So just realized that was... The energies are so frenetic right now for me. I've got a Leo rising and I've got my Mercury, Mars and Venus all in Leo. We've got outcome. Having gone on the journey of self-discovery and learning, the outcome is the ability to bring these two things together and communicate in a very clear way that is linked into your authentic self. Which is the journey that we're all in, which is why the Aries energy is so potent for all of us right now. I'm just now going to be pulling some final cards from the Oracle of the Rising Sun. Yeah, and the sun's there illuminating everything. You know, the sun is in its exaltation. I've done a series on that, so if you feel so inclined, do go check that out. Oh yeah, one of the things, I keep meaning to mention this in the introduction, that one of the things, if cards aren't coming out, it's usually because the energies want to do some energy work. Just had an energetic release then. Oh, all over my heart. Okay. Yeah, with the Aries energy, sometimes we can just sort of, we feel that other people, even if they're not, just by having their own ideas, might be impacting our on who we are. And it's really about finding balance of being able to accept other people's spaces. It's interesting, it's tapping over the Nine of Wands, which is, did you really, this energy that you're putting out of defending yourself, do you need to do it? Can you just let it go? And we've got the sun in Taurus here, acquisition. I'm just going to look at what that says in the book. It could be that this is all going to come together when the sun moves through Taurus, when we're dealing with your value system, how you manifest money and how you value yourself as well. Of the more that imbalance, you've got Chiron moving through the first, of how you feel seen, how you're able to embody yourself, frustrations, wounds, that with the sun then moving through Taurus, having gone through all this journey of, and then Mercury's going to go through there of really truly knowing what your value is without needing to go down this route or feeling triggered that you have to do that. Like really getting a more grounded sense of who you are, of having no what's another word for that swear word, of not giving a damn, but in a really healthy way. Yeah, it's just about value and valuing, you know, the acquisition of your own value. Right, I just want to see if one more card wants to come up, and then we'll wrap this up. Yeah, you've got a lot of energy going on for you, Aries, right now. A lot. Yeah. So that might lead to overinflated ego space, but this we're all being, that's way too many, we're all being asked to check that. We've all got egos, and egos actually do well, this deck is quite it's got a lot of energy, this deck. We're all, like, as I said, our egos are important. I'm not here to name and shame our egos, but usually because of trauma that we've gone through or not being seen, and you're really being asked to work through that right now, Aries, especially with Chiron being there. But Jupiter's really helping you out. It's going to be there until I think the 16th of May, so you've got a lot of time to bring this wisdom. That's so funny. That was that card. I saw that card and kept shuffling. Unlocking the secrets of how to navigate that information. That's Venus in Scorpio, of digging into the darkness of understanding. I mean, I was talking about trauma there, and that's how it reflects to our ego space of really learning of the wisdom. A lot of truth is being revealed with Jupiter moving through your sign, of the root of these things and why they come about. And, you know, often our environment has an impact on that, whether we like it or not. Aries energy, very independent, can have, with all of us, have an impact on how we see ourselves and how we move through the world. And I love that you've got two aces, real highlighting the fact that there's a big change coming, renewal of what's going on, being able to see things clearly in order to embody your truest self, rather than, because sometimes we can get lost in the ideas of who we are, and we can be very stubborn and pig-headed about what they mean, but the more that we question these things, the more that we question things, and the more we can shake off those illusions and be able to get to the truth of things and be able to create our own magic. Right, on that note, I'm going to leave you there, Aries. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate the energy transfer, and be well out there. So I turned off the video, and then all the sort of energy sank out of my body, and I was very much getting the vibe from the energies that they were like, no, we've got more energy work to do. We want this, we want to we want this information to be transmuted in another subtle way, Aries. Okay, Aries, I'm going to leave it at that. My hands have now gone over my heart chakra, sending you all of my love. This journey can be difficult, but you've got a lot of support, You've got Saturn in your 12th. Saturn likes being in the 12th, and the parts of who you are going to unravel and be you're just going to have a more sense of authority of who you are at the end of that transit. I really love that for you, Aries. Okay, right, I'm really going to leave you now. Okay, be well until we meet again. Pisces rising. How are you doing, Pisces? As I said in the introduction, for those of you who don't have Pisces rising, you're just tapping into the Pisces energy. When I talk about the aspects and how the energies are talking to each other, this will still apply to just to be in a different area of your life. All the messages will still, yeah, just apply what's coming through to that area of your life. But for Pisces rising, you're having this Mercury transit happening in your second house, your second house of values. This is your resources, the things that you care about. This is how you make your money. This is how you manifest, but it's also how you value yourself. And so you've had a lot of energy going on. You've had a lot of energy. I'm laughing because that came up for the Aries reading. The Magician is the Mercury card. I clear the decks before each reading, so it's just tickles me when repeat cards come up. Yeah, so you've had a lot going on in your second house, really getting you to understand your true value, and yeah, just a lot of support going on. But this is inverted to your Pisces energy, and that's like, they don't have a direct line of sight of how they communicate to each other, these two signs. However, there's a sense of, for me, it's you're sitting next to someone, but you're both facing forward. You can't see each other. However, you can feel that person's there. You're getting an energy transfer. It's through osmosis that this is happening, that this can come up in a subtler way. But I feel because Saturn is in Pisces right now, and Jupiter rules Pisces, the sign that Saturn is, like what's going on in your first house, and what's going on in your second house, you're kind of feeling directly because it's impacting your first house. Well, because we're dealing with Mars, because we're dealing with Aries, we look to where Mars is, because Mars rules Aries, and Mars up until tomorrow, so you might see this video after that, has been in Gemini, which is a Mercury sign. So they've been sharing information during this time. There's been a lot of speed, a lot of momentum. We've got air and fire. They are day signs. They want to take action. So you might have felt a bit frenetic at this time, but we now going to have, from tomorrow, Mars is going to move into your fifth house, a fellow water sign. This trines your Pisces energy. Cancer and Pisces trine one another. That's an aspect of Jupiter that wants to bring creation, inspiration, wisdom, elevation. There's a sense of generosity. There's a sense of opportunities. Jupiter is helps protect us and gives us vitality, and it's very much a yes planet. So that's what the aspect energy is giving. So two water signs sharing resources, unlike the inversion, they've got a lot of things in common. They're able to communicate and understand one another with ease. They're not fighting battles between each other. And so Mars will be for Pisces rising in your fifth house of creativity. This is your creation energy. This is how you get your fun, your amusement. This can be linked into romance and dating. It's not quite the long-term commitment of the seventh house, but still very much these are the aspects that can come up. Also children as well, but I focus more on creation energy because the way that I read tarot for this channel is very much the more the work we do on ourselves, the more our aspirations and our hopes and our dreams sort of reflect the inner work that we've been doing. My hand just went over my solar plexus. Very much creation energy of what creativity isn't just linked into painting or music or whatever. I mean, those are still very much elements of creative energy, but it can be absolutely anything that sparks you up and gets you moving. Also, because we're dealing with a Mercury transit, we look to the signs that Mercury rules, because what's going on with the ruler is having an impact on the signs that it calls its home. Mercury rules Gemini, which for you is in your fourth house. Mars will have just left there, and so Mercury's transit will be having an impact on what's going on in your fourth house. So in general, Gemini squares Pisces, squares an aspect of Mars, brings about conflict, frustration, drama. Always check those things, see what they're trying to teach you. The more that we tap into that and accept what's going on, realizing it's the energies at play, don't take it particularly personally, emotionally, the more we can surrender, release, transmute, and then switch gears, because squares are about friction. And we need friction in this 3D linear time frame in order to bring things into manifestation. So very powerful aspect. Also, Mercury rules Virgo, which is opposite your sign, Pisces. So a lot of mutable leveling up going on at this time. And Virgo, as I said, is an opposition. We deal with oppositions around the full moon, when this can bring about highlighting. You may swing from one energy to the other, and oppositions are all about finding balance and finding that inner integrity in both of those areas of your life. For you, that's in the 7th house of your intimate relationships, one-to-one partnerships. This is business, romantic, and friendships. Also, the universe is very much how I link in my one-to-one relationship with the universe. So these areas of your life for Pisces rising, that's your 4th house of your home, roots, ancestors, foundations, the roof over your head, your parents, also that private part of who you are, your private life, the people that you welcome into your home, how you are in your home, as well as that 7th house energy. Those are going to get a level up and a boost from Mercury and the journey that it's learning, moving through your 2nd house of your value system. The more we value ourselves at a fundamental level, the more, as I said, these things reverberate out in the other areas of our chart, also helping you learn how to manifest, work on, your income, how you make money. So whether you're in a small business or work by yourself, or however that may manifest, you're going to get some inspiration come through from Mercury traveling through that house, really helping you understand who you are and how to value yourself. Love that, Pisces, especially as you're getting support with Saturn moving through Pisces, of really helping you get into authority of who you are. I've done a series on that. Do go check that out if you're interested. Right, so that's the kind of general energy going around right now for you, Pisces. And so they're going to be, as I said, there's going to be 5 piles. I'm going to shuffle while I talk about the aspects, and then we'll see what's going to happen. On the 26th of March, this is when Mercury is going to conjunct Chiron at 15 degrees of Aries. At the same time, Mars will have now moved into Cancer. So and Cancer is ruled by the moon, and the moon will be in Gemini, ruled by Mercury. So they're all talking to each other. They're all on the same page. They all want to get involved with each other's energies. The moon in Gemini, helping you disseminate information very quickly about what it is you need on an emotional level. How you're able to communicate those emotional needs, and how you that's in your 3rd house of communication and your local community, having your needs met by the local community and the people that you interact with. Mercury conjunct Chiron, right? So the wounded healer, understanding the wounds that you may have faced about your individual self, your motivation, your drive, your value system, particularly in the 2nd house, of not being seen, not being valued. That Mercury talking to Chiron is helping bring about some of that clarity and communication to Chiron, in order for Chiron to process those wounds and change the energy up. We're dealing with a lot of shift in gear in the energies, and really beginning to really utilize these energies to help us moving forward. On the 27th or the 28th of March, depending on where you live, Mercury is going to conjunct Jupiter at 18 degrees of Aries. At the same time, the moon will be conjunct Mars in Cancer. So because we're dealing with Aries, we look to Mars. Mars is in Cancer. The moon rules Cancer. So our emotional needs and how we nourish ourselves. And for you, that's your creative energy, how you nourish your creative energy, how you nourish the people in your lives that you have a romantic relationship with, what your motivations are and how important they are, and really getting them met by that information being a priority of how Mercury is talking to Jupiter at this time, and how Jupiter is talking to Mercury, because Mercury is going to be moving on quite quickly, helping integrate and communicate the wisdom that Jupiter is imparting in that 2nd house area of your life. So this is a very magical time. This is Jupiter and Mercury. They rule the mutable signs. So you are ruled by Jupiter. Virgo is opposite you, ruled by Mercury. Gemini, your 4th house, ruled by Mercury. Your 10th house of career, ruled by Jupiter. And sometimes they can have a bit of difficulty getting on the same page, because Jupiter's, there's a sense of the big picture, of the knowing, the belief in something through this sense of higher ideas, whereas Mercury is very much wanting to collect all the informational data and put it into practice on a day-to-day basis. And it's about getting these things on board with each other and getting them to communicate, of Jupiter imparting its wisdom and understanding of the big picture, and Mercury going, okay, well, how am I going to apply that in the details? How am I going to make that real? How am I going to make that energy, that information flow quickly into this value system, into the way that you make money? Jupiter moving through this house can also bring about abundance in your life. So Mercury's utilizing the opportunities that you're getting and able to act fast and utilize that information moving forward. On the 30th of March, this is when Mercury is going to be conjunct Vesta, the goddess of the hearth. She is an asteroid. She's one of the oldest avatars of that sort of feminine energy of gathering around a fire to support and nourish yourselves by cooking food, providing heat, providing warmth, providing a sense of community, really asking you to tend to your internal fire, your internal value systems, and how to apply that, how to put that into a daily practice. That's at 22 degrees of Aries. At the same time, the moon will be in Cancer, and this will be squaring that energy. Again, that creation energy. How can you tap into your instinctive emotional responses, your intuition, how you nourish your creative energy, how you nourish your own needs, the needs of those around you, and how that has an impact on your value system, and how we can work through that energy, of that blocked energy that Cancer will be revealing in your emotional state about your value system during this time. As I said, squares can bring about conflict, drama, frustration. These are all tools to help you understand what it is you truly need in order to be able to tend to your own hearth. At the same time, the moon will be trine Neptune in Pisces. So in your sign, really helping you get to think big and be like Neptune, everything all at once, all the frequencies, all the dimensions. It is the ocean of the universe's creative consciousness that we have the capacity to tap into now that Saturn's in that sign, giving structure and reality to the dreams and idealism that we may have. And the moon is talking from your creative energy space to Neptune, going, these are the big dreams that I have. This is my intuition about how I feel, where I'm headed, and how I can cultivate myself, and therefore cultivate my sense of value. This is a big day because, this is a big day because at the same time, Venus will be conjunct Uranus in Taurus, which for you is in your third house of communication, local community. I've done a video on that. I've pulled cards on that. Venus is basically activating all the eclipse points that we've been having, so really bringing things together, unique ways of being, and again, that's the communication house for you, getting your voice in gear, getting your voice in tune with your maverick self, your true rebellious self. And by rebellion, it's really acknowledging that you are you and you don't care about what other people think about you, in the best, healthiest possible way, because we've got Venus there bringing in about a sense of harmony. At the same time, Saturn and Mars will be trining one another. Saturn in your first house, Mars in your fifth house of creative energy. So this is helping you embody through motivation and action your creative energy in terms of your long-term legacy. I love this for you, Pisces. Right, so those are all the aspects. As I said, we're going to have 5 piles. They seem to want me to keep shuffling. Let's see what wants to come through. And some more cards. I want more cards for you, Pisces. How are you getting on, Pisces? How's that Saturn transit doing? Yeah, it's definitely... I recently had... I'm a fixed sign rising, so I've had Saturn on the angular houses. It was in the 7th for me, opposing all my first stuff. Yeah, it was hard work, but I recommend, if you haven't checked it out, the Saturn in Pisces transit, because very different vibe. Doesn't mean Saturn's not going to be Saturn, but the more you sort of acknowledge and work out what Saturn's trying to tell you in the early degrees, the more you can transmute that energy and shift it. The more we are aware and put our minds and be mindful towards things, it means we're working with the quantum field, and we open up opportunities for change and abundance. Right, so let's see what's going on with these cards. So we have, for the energy of Mercury moving through Aries for you Pisces, we've got, I feel like it's two separate things. These are the energies that we're transmuting and moving through. It's the second house of your value, how you value yourself, how you manifest, how you bring in is your resources. That you may have gone through some heartbreak and heart pain where, or your heart is in pain because you don't value yourself. It's just gone over my heart. Don't value yourself in the way that you should. That you felt there's this internal sense of there's this sense of burden, there's this sense of just feeling very overwhelmed and feeling that that you're sort of, so with the 10 of Wands, it can be that you're holding other people's responsibilities, that you're overloaded by other people's energy, that you are unable to see, and this sense of responsibility, that you're unable to see the true value of who you are, the true space of your heart, and that perhaps other people's stuff has caused conflict and caused pain for you to not be able to focus on yourself. You've got all this stuff going on in Aries helping you work through that, helping you clear that, and for the energy sort of, I feel like this is a combination of Mercury moving through this energy of This is long-term manifestation. This is getting the lay of the land. I feel like this is getting the lay of the new land, because we've got the Page of Cups here, which is all about a new way of looking at things, heralding in a new emotional connection to your value system, of being able to dream and think beautifully, and their sense of imagination and creativity, and realizing your own value. There's there's a real sense of joy with the Page of Cups, of being able to it herald in change, this space, this stuck space, this heartbreak and this burden space, and being able to flip the switch on that, and see things from the perspective of the fish, Pisces. Like, sometimes we can get a little, yeah, especially with water energy. You're very much tapped into not only your own emotional space, the social space, but the collective space as well, that can clamp down on you and be that burden. I'm not surprised you're bringing in all of this energy that then gets confused in terms of what you are and what your value system is and who you are and how you're capable of manifesting, of like asking you to tap into your creative energy. And I like that we've got water and wands here, because that is very much the dynamic of Saturn and Jupiter. I know we're dealing with Mercury here, but the Mercury is the messenger between these two, of really getting you to hone your craft. As I said, this is the Two of Wands. This is long-term manifestation, because you're getting the lay of the new land of feeling replenished by the Page of Cups coming in. Perhaps this is also heralding in a new job linked into the creative area of your life. But this is asking you to really, as I say, get the lay of the land, do your due diligence, and now really ingrain and give yourself a good foundations of this new space that you're walking into. Yes, there's a sense of restlessness, of looking out into the ocean and wanting to go on an adventure, but this is really calling to cultivate that space. Take your time, bring in the inspiration that's going to come through with Mercury. Wands is your passion, your motivation, your drive, your creativity, of realizing that what's coming in now is for the long term, and doesn't necessarily have to be acted on immediately. There's, we fools can rush in with that Aries energy. So we have this is for the conjunction to Chiron. It feels like with this two of Pentacles that you haven't, what I'm getting coming through is you haven't been valued. You may have been doing different things and juggling different things, and neither of them is giving you the sustenance that you need. That you haven't been valued in those environments, and you haven't been able to make decisions to be able to then value yourself based on the work that you've done. This is not how I know, this is just coming through, these wounds that you've faced in how you prioritize yourself, prioritize what it is that you value, prioritize how your resources are utilized, that this conjunction with Chiron, at the same time, we're also dealing with the moon in Gemini, your local community. Gemini's in your home, of processing very quickly in your home what these wounds have done, because the moving through this is realizing that you have dominion here. We've gone from the Two of Wands to the Three of Wands. That the work that's been going on clearing these wounds, because Mercury's coming along and helping integrate all of these things, of the stuff that's been going on in your second house for a while, of being able to prioritize yourself rather than juggling one thing to the other. Is this figure prioritizes themselves. This is the Dominion card. This is having dominion over yourself and your passions, and what ships you want to put out into the world, what it is that you want to value, what journeys you want to go on, how you want to manifest. That this whole conversation in your second house is really getting you in tune with you and what you need and what you want, and being able to prioritize that. we have for the 27th and the 28th of March, depending on where you live, the conjunction with Jupiter at 18 degrees of Aries, while Mars will be conjunct the moon. Again, this is a renewal. We've got two renewal cards here. We've got the Ace of Cups. Interesting, you've got a lot of aces and fire. A lot of cups and fire here. We've got a completely new way of looking at your value system. You know, we've got the page heralding in a new way, and then we've got the Ace of Cups coming in with that conjunction with Mercury and Jupiter of really feeling replenished, and tending to your tending to yourself. Like I always say, give from your saucer, not from your cup. Make sure that your cup is overflowing, and the universe is coming along and providing support for that, because we've also got the Fool card, which is starting a new journey in the way that you look at yourself and how you value yourself and how you make money. Love this. On the 30th of March, this is when Mercury is conjunct Vesta, and the moon is in. There's a lot going on at this time, and this is calling for stillness here. We've got the Four of Swords, which is knowing you are comfortable and you're able to rest and be held by a higher power. And not only that, you've got the High Priestess, which is very much knowing that you are in your own power and drawing things towards you. So it could be asking you to call on like that interlinking between your Pisces energy and your Aries energy. Yes, we're dealing with Aries in the second house, but the inspiration that comes from just sitting and being still, to see what comes up, that spark of motivation to then mean that you can get up and go and do things. So this is also Venus is conjunct Uranus, which is getting you in line with being able to communicate. Again, very receptive energy coming through. Again, meditating during this time, seeing what inspiration comes up, so you can then utilize that to tend your own fire. While the moon is in Cancer, your fifth house of what are your emotional needs in relation to your creative energy, and how to nourish them, because it's trining that Neptune, which is in your first house, of being able to tap into the mystical and the magical at this time. So really, and also Saturn trining Mars. So we've got a lot of stuff coming in that's inspirational, that's going to help Vesta be able to bring this action, all that communication that's going on, feeding into Mercury to help you tend to your flame long term. So I love this. We've got how this energy is going to manifest moving forward. We have the Magician and the Three of Cups. So the Magician card is the Mercury card. I like how we've had the High Priestess, and now we're moving forward into the Magician. Now that you're in receipt and knowledge and understanding of your true value, you are able to understand that you have all the resources at your fingertips in order to create, in order to bring things into the world, in order to, the Magician values himself. The Magician isn't juggling things without being able to make decisions. The Magician can juggle things, having made the decisions to do so, and is capable of doing so. We've also got the Three of Cups. This is celebration. This is communion, of being around like-minded people. And what I'm getting is you're able to celebrate your own value system. You are able to celebrate yourself, celebrate the things that you care about, and really be able to go on this new journey. Like the Fool is all about appreciating the adventure and whatever's happening, be able to enjoy the experience of being in this human body. And I like how we've got the three first major arcana is really showing you are going on a new journey. You are able to create from the own fundamentals of who you are. We're dealing with a manifestation house, and we've got big manifestation cards coming through for you, Pisces. And again, it's all combined with that Saturn transit of really getting you to be in authority and getting you in line with your own integrity moving forward. We've got the Patience card. Right, so it could be for some of you, you've been patient long enough, but I feel with that Saturn transit that you're going to see how this can be inspired to come about. And we've got also pausing cards of being patient and drawing things in, as well as a lot of action cards that through that act of being patient and being, as I said, being mindful of that Saturn transit, being mindful of what Saturn's doing in your first house is going to reverberate outwards, and transform how you embody your sun or your moon in your actions and your deeds. And the outcome is the Magician. That's a very, very powerful card to come out the end, especially with those Three of Cups of really being able to enjoy the process of what's going on. Like, we are constantly learning, we are constantly growing. And magic is everywhere, Pisces. You know this. You know this, Pisces. That it's really calling for you to got the Battle card, just saying good versus evil. Yeah, okay, so one of the main messages that's been coming through repeatedly is karmic cycles changing. Source, love and light. That you may have felt like this can come about in so many different ways, but there's a clearing going on. There's a big clearing. You've had Saturn move through your 12th, which is even though Saturn likes being in that house, difficult, especially in Aquarius, that you've been working through all the different layers of who you are. And it's the house of, it can be, depression is there, but I like how we've now got the Source card coming out of love and light, that you've been able to integrate, you've been able to do those battles against yourself, the self-undoing. We've got the Star card, potential success, happy endings, promising beginnings, but this is also deep renewal. But yeah, whatever's been going on is been clearing this way to there's so much beautiful energy in here, but it's like with everybody, like all these readings, they all are highlighting we have gone through some stuff. It's been hard. We may feel beaten down, we may feel like the end of our tether. We're dealing with so much change right now that it's there, we're opening up to huge quantum possibilities of leaping into the new world and promising beginnings. How could you not ignore those words, that it is the card of hope, but it's after like a lot of stuff's happened. We've got the discrimination card, so I really feel that Pisces energy can, that's Venus in Virgo, that's opposite you. You can suffer from believing the best in people, or connecting and knowing where you end and they begin. That Saturn moving through your first and having moved through your 12th is helping you be able to discriminate from the energies that aren't yours and the energies that are yours. Spend some time in nature. Spend some time in nature. You are allowed to have preferences. You are allowed to have opinions. Which is another way of saying discrimination. It just means that you have an idea of what it is that you want and you're heading towards it. With the Magician card as well, they're able to work out what it is that they want and be able to take action on that. Right, I'm going to just get one more card from, this is the Oracle of the Rising Sun. I just used the numerology deck and the First Light Tarot. I put all the decks in the description box, and I will also be writing out the aspects as well. So don't worry, it's a lot of information. I do realize that. So go check that out. Maybe write it in your diary. Adaptability. Moon in Gemini. Uh, yeah, mutable signs. I just feel like you're shifting gears. You're shifting gears. You're shifting gears. And yes, you have been able to be adaptable, and that is a brilliant talent to have. But now is the time to get into your own power, make decisions for yourself, have some discrimination about the things that you are juggling. Honestly, when you start turning up for yourself in that way and you start setting boundaries, the universe is like, okay, they are who they say they want to be, and they're walking their talk. That the universe then starts providing, especially at this time. It seems quite crazy. Okay, Pisces, I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. I appreciate the energy transfer so much. I really do. And I really, yeah, I'd love to hear from you if you feel so inclined. If I just said that, I do apologize. I've got a lot of fire and air in my chart. So, I'm basically running at the speed of light right now. Anyway, Pisces, be well until we meet again. Aquarius rising. So as I said in the introduction, for those of you just tapping into the Aquarius energy, when I talk about the aspects and how the energies are talking to each other, that will still apply, just in a different area of your life, as well as the messages that are coming through. But for those of you with Aquarius rising, you have this transit happening in your third house. Aries energy sextiles Aquarius energy. This is an aspect of Venus, air and fire. They get along. They are both day signs. They have a lot of direction, a lot of movement, wanting to do things now. There's a speed to them. So they're kind of on the same table. But they've got different qualities that they share with one another. And so a sextile aspect of Venus, wanting to bring about harmony, creativity, beauty, appreciation, connection. There's a sense of relationship between these two signs. And for Aquarius rising, this is happening in your third house of that. This is traditionally the house of the goddess. This is where our big picture philosophies come through from the ninth house into our day-to-day. Essentially, are you going to walk your talk? Speaking of talk, the third house is the house of communication. So Mercury moving through here is really helping you get into your communication style, providing inspiration. We also are dealing with your local community, the places that you go on a regular basis, the people that you meet. So a lot of outside interaction can happen during this transit, especially in how you communicate with people in that way and how they communicate with you. Maybe inspiration coming through from outside sources. So, because we're dealing with Aries, we look to Mars, and because what's going on with the ruler has an effect on the signs that it rules. Mars will be leaving Gemini tomorrow, so you might be watching this video after that, and will be moving into Cancer. So the first part of Mercury's transit through Aries has been impacted by Mars's very, very long transit in Gemini since August last year. Gemini is in your fifth house of creativity, a fellow air sign. You're on the same team, you're sharing resources, you know how each other, rolls basically. And so also Gemini is a Mercury ruled sign. So for those first couple of days, they had mutual reception, they were talking to each other, a lot of speed, a lot of action, a lot of woo takeoff basically, and Mercury getting to know like what Mars has been learning in Mercury. So Mars's journey through understanding so Aquarius rising, that's your fifth house of creation energy. This is the place where you get amusement and fun, can be linked into short-term dating and romance rather than the long-term commitment space of the seventh house. So everything that Mars has learned through this time, this very long time of what motivates you to share information, to be, to do, to communicate with others, how that has an impact on your your communication house, and the local communities that you're in. Maybe you've been finding a lot of fun to do, a lot of things that nourish you to do in your local community. So now your Aries energy is being flavored by what's going on with Mars. And so now Mars will be moving into the sign of Cancer, which is squaring that Aries energy. So they're both cardinal energy. It's the same modality. They like to start things. There's a sense of power here, of sense of leadership. And Mars is in your 6th house. This is the house of work, health, and routines. I'll be doing a Mars transit video, so do go check that out if you're interested. Mars likes being in the 6th house. Mars is one of Mars's favorite places to be. Mars likes a job to do. So you're now going to have Mars here, and how you emotionally connect to your work, how you tend to your own needs and the needs of others. Your health, your routine is going to get a boost during this time, but that's going to have an impact on your day-to-day. So maybe you'll be seeking out things that are more linked into your health, that you engage with in your local community, or, as I said, inspiration coming through from your community in how to apply healthier routines or work in a different way. So yeah, all of that's going on. We also look to because we're dealing with a Mercury transit, so like we were talking about with Mars in relation to affecting Aries, the signs that Mercury rules will be impacted by Mercury's journey through Aries. So what we're looking for, we're looking for Gemini, which we just talked about, in your 5th house, fellow air sign, and Virgo, which is another mutable sign that's in your 8th house of shared resources. This is sharing time, money, energy, intimacy, things about yourself, or anything that's a give and a take with the outside world. That's also your one-to-one relationships. It's essentially it's the outside world's resources. It's the things that you share. This can be linked into mortgages, loans, and car things, as in like I always stumble over what this means. I don't drive, so this is probably why. I'm a pedestrian through and through. Love to walk. Yeah, like getting a car rental, long term on lease. That's it. There we go. Car lease. So things like that. Also inheritance, 3D inheritance and cosmic inheritance. This is a house of transformation. It can also, taxes are also involved. So, but my point is that Mercury moving through your 3rd house of communication, your local community, short distance travel, starting something new, learning something new. This is going to have an impact on your 5th house creativity energy and how you share resources. So this sense of getting to know the true sense of who you are, the self of the autonomous individual part of your voice, is going to level up how you deal with your creative energy, how you have fun, the kind of people you want to interact, and how you want to share your resources with the outside world. So that's the kind of general energy that's going around for the Aquarius energy. And now I'm going to talk about 3 aspects. I'm going to be shuffling. So they're just bashing like this, my wrists together. As I said in the introduction, this is sometimes what the energies like to do. Adds on subtle, energetic, quantum level collaboration and cohesion with the messages that are coming through. Right, the aspects. 3 aspects we've got. 26th of March. So if you're watching this and it's past the 26th of March, this energy is still accessible to you. It might help as a sort of reminder and understanding of what kind of came up around that time. So don't worry I apologize. There's been so much to put out, and I've had a few things come up where I've lost some time that I allocated to doing these things, which is all good. But I just wanted to let you know, I do apologize for if you're watching this after the event. It's not going to change what's coming through. You're just now going to have a bit of hindsight and a bit of clarity about it. So 26th of March, Mercury is going to conjunct Chiron at 15 degrees of Aries. So Chiron is the wounded healer, has been moving through Aries for a while now, really helping us bring wisdom and teaching the ability to understand the wounds that we have and the pain that they may feel, and being able to transmute that energy to not only share that wisdom with ourselves but with the outside world, being able to communicate, you know, moving through the third house for you, Aquarius. The wounds you have about speaking your truth. Being able to communicate your authentic self in your local community, or not feeling that you feel valued or seen with what you are able to contribute, the information that you understand and know and you're able to bring to the table. Perhaps I'm just trying to link it into sort of learning something new, maybe issues over starting learning something and feeling like there's just blockages in order to allow yourself to be free, to be able to accept that you are able to engage in these things without necessarily being perfect. With the short distance travel, I'm really just trying to figure out, like, maybe there might be some traumas linked to when you've gone on trips that some trauma may have come up during those. That this is a transit of deep healing, the spark of life of who we are. And so this is Mercury, the messenger of the gods, our road opener, our road clearer, of wanting the flow to move in, wanting the energy, the information, the way that we share these things and communicate ourselves to become just there be a bit more ease in the way that we do it, and so really Mercury talking to Chiron is helping bring some understanding of Chiron's lessons to us on a conscious level, in the way that we are able to communicate with ourselves the meanings behind these things. My hand is just tapping over my heart chakra. At the same time, you know, Mars, we look to where Mars is to see what's going on with Mars and how that's adding a layer of influence to this conjunction. And Mars is now moved into Cancer. And for you, Aquarius, Cancer is in the 6th house at this time of your work, your co-workers, your health, your routines. So maybe bringing up wounds from work, wounds around your health, that Mercury is now understanding through the lens of Mars in moving through Cancer, of how that's got in the way of your ability to motivate yourself, to take care of yourself. And because Cancer is ruled by the moon, we look to where the moon is, and the moon is in Gemini, a sign ruled by Mercury. So they're all communicating with one another. They're all on board. The moon, your emotional needs, your instinctive emotional responses, how you nourish yourself, how you nourish others. Your embodiment of your emotional needs is talking to Mars about, and Mars is talking to Mercury and Chiron. So prioritizing the uncovering, the discovering of your emotional needs, your wounds linked into that, of that communication space of talking to your creative energy, or some of the relationships that you may have been in that may have stifled what it is that you need, and how your voice is heard, which may have had an impact on how well you take care of yourself, how well, you know, it takes effort and work to put in the routines and habits of being able to take care of our physical body. And that's usually because we've suffered rejection or neglect or whatever it is that means that we now then recreate that neglect to ourselves. Second aspect, the 27th or the 28th of March, depending on where you live, Mercury is going to conjunct Jupiter at 18 degrees of Aries. So Mercury, oh, we got that. We had the Cancer card come up. So we've got Mercury talking to Jupiter. Now, these energies are very mutable energies. They rule the mutable signs. That is Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. And so they have different ways of looking at things. Jupiter is very much about inclusion and spreading out and abundance and this sense of wisdom. Whereas Mercury is very much about the details, about refining the information, about lots of small pieces of information rather than the big picture. Now, we need to it's best to work with all the energies and get them on the same page. So Jupiter's imparting the knowledge and the wisdom that it's been helping you understand during its journey through the third house of how you communicate and what it is that you need from your local community, and sharing that to Mercury, so Mercury can then apply that into the day-to-day, into the small details of your life. There's a lot of wisdom coming through here and a lot of ability to receive that divine inspiration, that spark that's coming up. At the same time, Mars and the moon are conjunct in Cancer. So this is, we've got the moon in its own sign, so it knows what it's doing. It's very easy for it to access your emotional needs. There may be a bit of drama come up around here, but I feel whatever's coming up is really helping highlight the wisdom on how you're going to expand and heal moving forward, but also being able to get you to be motivated to your emotional needs. And what it is like the moon showing, I'm saying, these are the needs that I need. These are the needs that I need to be cared about, to Mars to defend and want to protect and take action over. And then so Mercury and Jupiter are going, okay, I hear what you're saying. Here's the information download. On this may take a while to integrate. It doesn't have to be immediate. It all depends on your personal chart, like how you receive this information. On the 30th of March, this is the final aspect that I'm going to be pulling cards for. This is when Mercury is conjunct Vesta, which is an asteroid, at 22 degrees of Aries. So Vesta, otherwise known as Hestia, is the goddess of the hearth, a very primal archetype of the goddess energy. So, linked into the fire, being able to cook food, sit around, commune with your community, the warmth of keeping the outside world at bay. And then it became inwards when we started having houses, that this would be of all the gods and goddesses in all different traditions, Vesta and Mercury are the two that were prolific in everyday houses. So Mercury, very much protector of the traveller, and very much seen as a protector of the home, as well as Vesta. And they're coming together and they're talking together about how you can tend to your flame, how you can take care of that inner spark of you, and how you communicate in your day-to-day. At the same time, this energy is being squared by the moon in Cancer. So again, that moon is still in Cancer. She's going to be communicating via the aspect of a square, which is a Mars aspect, potentially bringing about conflict, drama and frustration at this time. But whatever comes up is really getting you to really work out what is true to your nature and what it is that you need in order to communicate. Really getting you to tend to who you are, and how you express yourself. The moon will also be trining Neptune in Pisces, which is your second house of values, how you value yourself, how you manifest. It's your resources, it's your income. Of the moon, like thinking, hey, think big about how you work and how that affects your values and how you make money. And then we're going to get Vesta and Mercury to be able to provide protection and expansion in the way that you talk and communicate, that is going to facilitate these things. We also, lots going on in the sky on that day. Venus will be conjunct Uranus in Taurus, which is in your fourth house of private life, ancestors, roots, foundations, home. It's your parents, but it's your intimate private life. Uranus has been going through there for a while, and Venus is coming along. She's activating all the eclipse points. I really recommend checking out that transit video. I know I recommend loads. I basically all of the recent ones. They're so. I'm going to shut up. Yeah, you do what you need to do. So we're going to have that conjunction. I've pulled cards for that one in a different video. In your 4th house, getting you divine wisdom of your authentic self. Like, Uranus is the maverick of the solar system. It doesn't care that it's the maverick. It just is doing itself. It's not bothered. And Venus is coming along to bring about a sense of harmony and cohesion to the innovative information that's coming through from Uranus in your 4th house of your home. So really bringing some harmony about in that area of your life that's facilitating how you work and how you communicate. At the same time, we've got Saturn in Pisces in your 2nd house of values, helping you give structure to not only your internal authority, but perhaps how you spend money. With a Jupiter ruled sign in the 2nd house can certainly be a sense of generosity or a sense of money just disappearing. This is trine Mars in Cancer. So your value system is and your long-term legacy of Saturn is trining Mars in Cancer of how you're going to take actions to take care of your work, take care of your health, take care of your routines for the long-term support of your value system. All the while Vesta and Mercury are having a chat saying, hey, how can we help each other? Love this for you, Aquarius. Right, so let's see. Okay, they seem to want another card. Let's see how these cards are going to play out for you, Aquarius. As I say in the introduction, this can mean that I'm quite quiet. Whoa, there's a lot. Do bear with me, Aquarius. Yeah, as I said, I have to go vacant. Well, I choose to go vacant while this is happening, so I'm not really, just letting them do what it is that they need to do. So we have for Mercury moving through Aries, we've got, this has been a similar theme for a lot of these readings where there's a lot of energy coming through that's being cleared out and re-navigated, that is difficult energy. We've all been through it, so we've got here, we've got the Seven of Wands, we've got the Four of Cups, and we've got the Seven of Swords, the Four of Cups, and the Eight of Swords. The Seven of Swords can be like you don't feel like you've got all your resources, that there has been things just haven't felt in balance. You know, this is someone taking away from another party all their ideas or all their resources, that there's this sense of just not having all your faculties together in order to be in the environment that you're in. We've also got the Four of Cups, which is comparison is the thief of joy for me. Like, there's a stagnant energy here of perhaps your community hasn't been what you've wanted it, that you've been looking around, you've been trying to find a space that works for you. You've also been feeling like, oh, maybe other people express themselves better than I can do, and I'm not capable of doing it, and just there's a sense of lack here, there's a sense of frustration. But you know, the Ace of Cups is coming in to renew the situation, and you do have the Ace of Cups in your spread, of just there's just not, this is not easy energy. This is not energy that's supportive to how you express yourself, and the kind of communities that you're in. It maybe just is you haven't really been facilitated in that area of your life. We've also got the Eight of Wands. I keep calling them wands. Eight of Swords, and this is very much about feeling trapped, but not being aware that you are in fact not trapped, that we are able to make our own conscious decisions and move out of situations, that we just have to put a little bit of movement into it. You know, if this figure just moved a little bit, you know, her legs aren't bound, and realize that these binds could fall off, they're not very tightly done, and then we'd be able to remove the blindfold and realize that you're able to navigate the situation in a different way, particularly because we've got the Page of Cups coming forwards, of a new way of connecting emotionally to how you communicate, how you connect your community, and really like enjoying this new creative space where, you know, the Page of Cups is one of the, you know, the happiest pages. There's a sense of falling in love with your community, falling in love with the way that you're able to communicate, not necessarily feeling like you are lacking in being able to communicate, that you're not able to express your emotions in the way that you communicate. And that this transit is bringing a lot of inspiration through. We have for, what are they going to move them around again? Is that what they're going to do? So we have for the first transit, which is when Mercury is conjunct Chiron, and so yeah, it feel again, we've got the Two of Pentacles, which is kind of saying you haven't really been able to make decisions about where you're headed and what kind of environment that you want to be in. That you haven't been able to make choices for yourself, perhaps prioritizing your community and your community's needs more than you have your own. And then we've got the Death card of transformation, of knowing what to let go of, and we've got the Chariot card, which is the Cancer card, card, and this is when Mars is now in Cancer, of being able to prioritize your needs and the way that you work and your health and your routines, and the speed in which you're going to have that come in is very fast, of transmuting this energy. And the Chariot card, you know, they don't have any reins in order to, there's no need to control the direction that you're going in. You're going in the direction, regardless of what's going on around you, can still be chaotic, that you're in control of yourself now, rather than like sort of being beholden to the needs of a lot of other people. And for the kind of crowning energy of moving through those wounds, of not feeling like you can be your independent self, that Aries energy in your community and in how you communicate. Though now we've got the Three of Wands, which is the Dominion card. This is about you like having the higher ground. You've made the right decisions. You're in control of what it is that you're doing, and you're able to take action based on your needs and what you want moving forward. Love that for you, Aquarius, on the 27th to the 28th. I do apologize, Aquarius. Usually So on the 27th and the 28th, we have the conjunction with Jupiter. Again, we've got some cups coming through this renewal, you know, whereas the page is heralding in this renewal, the Ace of Cups is bringing in that replenishment of self, of connecting on an emotional level to the things that you need, the communities that you're in, and how you want to communicate. There's a real, rather than feeling like you can't talk, you can't co-create with your community, we're now getting a new joy, a new beautiful way of looking at your environment and the way that you communicate, and allowing that your voice is now in abundance here. And we've got the King of Pentacles, of what it is that you're doing, what it is that you're learning now is working for your long-term goals. Again, the moon is conjunct Mars in your 6th house of work, health and routines. Like the King of Pentacles is the legacy energy, you know, of being able to take action, direct action, to cultivate and create things in the 3D world. We have we've got the Queen of Cups. This is from the 30th of March, when Mercury is conjunct Vesta. And I really love this. The moon will also be in Cancer, squaring this energy. So, well, you know, the Queen of Cups is very nourishing, very nurturing, very caring energy of, I really like how this has come up with Vesta, of tending into your own ability to communicate, tending to your needs in your community. And all the while, the moon is trining Neptune in your value systems of really, again, getting you in line with the voice that you have, and being able to tend to you and nourish yourself and nourish your voice. My hand has now just gone over my throat chakra. around my throat. And being able to not only be the Queen of Cups to others, you know, having Cancer in the 6th house is very nurturing in terms of your working environment, but being able to nourish yourself, because we do, yeah, I just really feeling that this is giving you the long-term strength of being able to be true to your voice without over giving to other people. And I don't mean that in terms of like, you know, not giving at all, just, you know, again, focus on the Ace of Cups of giving from your cup and not your saucer, because where you're headed is some really beautiful energy. We've got the Four of Wands, the King of Wands, and the Sun. So we've got a lot of wand energy and very direct energy of the sun. The sun will be in Aries, in exaltation, but the suns are all about you. The sun's about your clear connection to self, your vibrancy, your ability to express yourself. We've got the Four of Wands. This is celebration. This is having done the hard work. You're now celebrating the harvest of being, and also with other people. You know, we're dealing with the community house here. Also the 6th house of co-workers, of being and working in the environment of like-minded people, and you're all celebrating together. But I feel with the communication element of you're able to celebrate your own voice. We've also got the King of Wands, very strong energy here, very direct energy, being able to communicate your passions and your desires and your creativity and your inspiration to yourself and to others, and really letting that light shine in, Aquarius. Yeah, I've got a great card to end on. Oh, a great card. I'm just going to pull a card from the numerology deck to see what other messages wanted to come through, or maybe a clarification card. We've got the health card. Okay, so a lot of vitality coming through for long-term goals of health. Yeah. One more from here. Yeah, the 6th house for you, where the Mars is having an impact on how you communicate. Really getting your health in balance, really getting a healthy voice. My head just went back when I said that. Change is coming. It's coming for us all, guys. There's so much going on in the astro weather. Just be really open to it. Really open to see what's coming up. Get in touch with your intuition. You know, the cards at the beginning. Who may I help? Yourself. Because then when you do that from a grounded space, you can celebrate in the community. Love that. Let's see what major arcana, what cards. This is the First Light Tarot. This is a mixture of major arcana, question cards, and outcome cards. And I tend to like to shuffle until we get a major arcana for you guys. Speaking of which, the Star. This is deep healing. This is hope. This is dreams. And the words on it are potential, success, happy endings, promising beginnings. So deep healing with your throat, with your ability to communicate, feeling replenished and nourished by your community, creating space. We've got power. This is the Oracle of the Rising Sun. So this is the moon in Scorpio, getting in touch with your power, your innate illumination. Yeah, so much vitality is happening here in your 3rd house, and it's all sextiling your Aquarius energy of yourself, how you embody your words and your deeds. All of this is feeding into there, during this time. And Jupiter's going to be there till the 16th of May, so there's a while yet of this coming through. Yeah, you might be getting, because, you know, we're dealing with the communities as well, people from the outside world, enterprise, Jupiter in Aries. Also, because we're dealing with the work house of new ideas of how to work and being thinking in different very inspirational ways. As I was about to say, we've got the Sun in Capricorn, achievement, like this. Right, I'm going to leave it at that. I was saying Jupiter in the third can mean like people around you, like guru, teacher, leaders come through that help you be able to make the changes. Or like, we're all teachers and we're all gurus at the same time, and it, you know, sometimes little nudges from the outside world can really help. But I like that we've got achievement in health, and being enterprise with the community. Okay, some of that might be just for some of you. Do let me know, Aquarius. I'd love to hear from you if you feel so inclined. Obviously no pressure, but I really appreciate you watching this video and sharing your energy with me. Thank you so much, and be well until we meet again. Capricorn rising. How are you doing, Capricorn? So I said in the introduction, those of you just tapping into that Capricorn energy, when I talk about the aspects and how the energies are talking to each other and the general themes that come up, you can apply that to that area of your life. But for Capricorn rising, this transit in Aries of Mercury is happening in your 4th house. We've all had a lot of Aries energy going on in different areas of our chart, and you've had this squaring your Capricorn energy. So a square is an aspect of Mars, can bring about conflict, frustration, drama. But when these things happen, it's getting you in touch with what it is that you need and what it is that you're going to fight for long term. And so for Capricorn rising, this is squaring your rising sign. Your rising sign is how you embody your sun or your moon in the world. And this is through your actions and your deeds. This is how other people can see you. This is your body, your appearance. So with all this Aries energy in your 4th house, this is your roots, your foundations, your link to your ancestors, your parents, your lineage. It's also your home and your private life, that very intimate part of who you are. So you've had a lot of energy going on in your home life of reevaluating what it is that you need from your home, what it is that you need from your private life. And now you know, Venus has left there. She's now in Taurus, in your house of creativity. Jupiter's still there along with Vesta and Chiron. These are the main aspects that Mercury's going to make on its journey. The Sun is there bringing light and vitality and strength of who you are, to your home life, of really getting clarity about what it is that you need on your individual level, how you embody yourself in your home. Mercury is now here as well. Has been here since the 18th or 19th of March, depending on where you live. I apologize for the delay in getting these out. There's so much going on in the astro weather, and the Sun was making an aspect, main aspect before Mercury was. So this is why I've delayed on this coming out. So Mercury's there. How do you communicate in your home? How do you bring information together? How do you think about things in your home? So you've had Mercury moving through there since the 18th, as I said. And because we're dealing with Aries, we need to look to where Mars is and what Mars is doing. And tomorrow, on the 25th, Mars is going to be moving into Cancer out of Gemini. So for the first part of the transit with Mercury, we've had a lot of fire and a lot of air energy. A lot of action, a lot of stimulation, a lot of needing to take action. And now Mars will be moving into Cancer. So moving from your 6th house, Capricorn rising, which is your house of work, health and routines, into your 7th house of your one-to-one relationships. Cancer is opposite Capricorn. We deal with this energy at full moons of highlighting what it is that we've been working on, or highlighting things that we need to bring into balance. And so with oppositions, as I said, we need to bring things into balance in order to get both of these energies to work together on the same page. And you have this in your 7th house of intimate relationships. That can be friendship, business, romantic, all those things, all those relationships that you want to commit to, and that want to commit to you. So as I said, Mars has been moving through the 6th. So you've really, your home, you've been like trying to prioritize your health, prioritize prioritize the work that you're doing. And now Mars, our motivation, our actions, what inspires us to do the things that we care about in the sign of the moon is going to be having an impact on your fourth house. So now you're going to be focusing more on your motivation behind your one-to-one relationships and how that affects your home life and how you look after yourself in your private time. Because we're dealing with a Mercury transit, we look to the houses and the signs that Mercury rules, and therefore the houses that they fall under. So Mercury's transit through your fourth house, through your Aries energy, is going to be having an impact and leveling up those areas of your life. So a Gemini is ruled by Mercury. We're dealing with a lot of mutable energy at this time. Strange feeling in my hand. Gemini does rule the hands. Mercury rules Gemini, which is the sixth house, which Mars has just been through, helping you be able to communicate those sort of motivations that you've been doing, helping you get some clarity, get the details around how you want to work, the kind of routines you want to put together, and how you want to take care of your health. As well as that, Mercury also rules your ninth house of big picture philosophies. So this is Virgo, and this is a fellow earth sign, so this is kind of trining your Capricorn energy. So as a big picture philosophies, it's traditionally the house of the gods, moral space, how you map out the world, the universe, your place in it, on moral levels, philosophical levels, spiritual levels, linked into God, all of these things. It's also linked into long distance travel, as in immersing yourself in a different environment that you're not used to in order to broaden your perspectives. It's also about mastering things. So it's linked into higher education, but that's anything you've been studying and learning about, no matter what that is, for a long period of time, that you're now cultivating mastery. So the things going on in your fourth house, your home, are going to have an impact on your big picture philosophies and how you want to tackle mastering a topic. So there's going to be a lot of inspiration with Mercury moving through here. You probably a lot of inspiration when you're at home and when you're in your private life about how you how your voice wants to be heard and seen in that area of your life. So it's very positive transits all round. You know, we've got the Sun, Jupiter, Chiron and Vesta. Chiron and Jupiter together have been helping us bring wisdom and elevation to the wounds that we may have felt in that area of our lives. So that's all the general energy that's going around for Capricorn energy. And now I'm going to talk about the aspects. As I said in the introduction, there'll be 5 piles, and I'm going to shuffle throughout, and then we'll work out where the cards want to go at the end, with the energies who like to get involved and help bring some clarity of where they want to go and how they want to be. So the first aspect is happening on the 26th of March. For those of you who might be watching this video after the event, don't worry, this energy is still around. You'll just get a bit more hindsight of seeing what came up during that time and how this is going to work and manifest moving forward. So Mercury conjunct Chiron at 15 degrees of Aries. What does this mean? Mercury is going to be able to provide wisdom and information and details about those wounds that Chiron is highlighting, and how to integrate them and bring them into your day-to-day. At the same time, Mars will now have moved into Cancer, and so the energies of your intimate relationships are going to, and what motivates you and moves you in that area of your life is going to be fed into what kind of information Mercury is sharing with Chiron and Chiron is sharing with Mercury. At the same time, because we're dealing with Mars in Cancer, we look to where the moon is, and the moon is in Gemini, which is a Mercury ruled sign. So they are all intermingling with one another. Your emotional needs and linked into your health are going to come up here. Your emotional needs linked and how you nourish others and nourish yourself in terms of your work are going to come and come to the forefront and be triggered during this time. And they're all helping with those wounds that are being healed and uncovered and transmuted, that the lessons that you learn from those wounds can help you not only heal yourself, but also the wisdom that you've learned from those would be able to communicate to other people. And it's the reason why I say that is because we are also dealing with elements of the 9th house coming in here, which is linked into teaching. On the 27th and the 28th of March, depending on hello guys, on where you live, the Mercury will be conjunct Jupiter. Jupiter at 18 degrees of Aries. At the same time, Mars will be conjunct the moon in your 7th house of one-to-one relationships, opposite your Capricorn energy. So Mercury talking, yep, that did flip over. We're taking that one. Mercury okay. I'm just wanting all the cards from the bottom of the deck here. Interesting. They don't usually do that. So Mercury talking to Jupiter. Now, these both rule the mutable signs. Jupiter rules Sagittarius and Pisces. Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. So lots of change, lots of adaptability. And with this kind of energy, so like Jupiter is wanting you to expand, wanting to level up, bring elevation, wisdom. There's a sense of generosity here, but there's a sense of sort of knowing, inherently knowing, rather than Mercury, which is about figuring out the small details, piecing them together in order to produce something and bring some details into your day-to-day. And the reason we bring these together is the wisdom that Jupiter's been learning through Aries. Jupiter's going to be able to impart to Mercury, who's then going to be able to finesse those details and bring it into the 3D world when Mercury's then going to make its own transits moving forward. And interestingly, because the moon rules Cancer, so Mars is ruling Aries, so we look to Mars. Mars is in Cancer, which is ruled by the moon. We look to the moon. The moon is in Cancer, so the buck is kind of stopping with the moon in terms of the wisdom that's coming through here and what it is that you need, your emotional needs and your one-to-one relationships, and how that affects your personal life, your private life. Yeah, so there's a lot of wisdom and inspiration, especially with all this fire energy, a lot of speed, a lot of needing to get in touch with who you are on a very healed and elevated space. And Mercury is going to be getting some downloads. Mercury is also going to be communicating what it's been learning to Jupiter, so there's going to be a transfer between the two, but because Mercury is the fastest moving planet, like this is the one that's going to be transporting that energy to other areas of your life. It's going to be moving into your 5th house of creativity, and really helping solidify what you've been learning in your 4th house into your 5th house before Jupiter moves in there in May, 16th of May. On the 30th of March, this is the final aspect that I'm pulling cards for. This is when Mercury is going to be conjunct Vesta. Vesta is an asteroid. She represents, and it's to do with the hearth and tending your hearth, your inner flame. The Vestal virgins in Rome tended to the sacred flame of the empire, and it was kind of thought that if that was kept alive, then the empire would be able to keep going. So it's really tending to the core of who you are, especially with that flame element that we've got with Vesta being in Aries, which I love for all of us, of how do we tend to our individual sense of self, our autonomy, our need to embody our own experiences from a very individual space. How do we tend to those? How do we tend to that spark of life that we have in our private life, and the people that we interact with in our private life, as well as tending to the flame of your ancestors, because we are dealing with the 4th house of really cultivating. The more that you're able to embody your truest sense of self, the more you are facilitating whatever unhealed links there are to your own lineage and your past lives. That energy is transferred to them as well. There's a lot of karmic clearing going on at the moment. So Mercury talking to Vesta, they were the two goddess. Oh my goodness me. The goddess of Vesta and Mercury. They were the two main staples for in the everyday home. So we've got the goddess of the hearth, that warmth where you cook food, where you keep warm, where people gather around, that collection of energy of tending to your home life, as well as Mercury, who was often a protector, as well as helped facilitate communication, finance, all of those things. That they were two of the main staples that people had in their home life. So maybe spend some time in devotion during this period At the same time, the moon's going to be in Cancer squaring this energy. So that's at 22 degrees of Aries. But the moon's going to be in Cancer in your 7th house, squaring that energy. So maybe your emotional needs are going to be met by your intimate relationships that are going to help you understand the value of yourself in your home, and how to take care, and how you are nourished and supported in your home life. Mercury is, the magician, being able to create magic during this time. At the same time, the moon is trine Neptune in Pisces, which for you is in your house of communication. Oh, my head's just rolled back and is going from side to side. Interesting. Ooh, in your house of communication and community. So this trine is an aspect of Jupiter wanting to share inspiration, elevation, opportunities, wisdom at this time of what it is that you want from your one-to-one relationships and how you communicate in those. And as I said, this is business, friendship, romantic. It's also your local community. So you getting to dream big about your emotional needs with your community at this time. So we've also got Venus conjunct Uranus in your 5th house of creative energy in Taurus. I've done a Venus series. I recommend you check that out because she is activating every single one of the eclipses we had last year. Woo! The astrology is crazy. So sort of divine inspiration coming through of, Uranus is the oddball of the universe, but it doesn't care. Like, it's not bothered. It doesn't consider itself the oddball. It's just doing what it's doing. Helping release tension, helping you get inspiration in terms of your creative energy. This is also the house of children and dating and romance. But really getting, because we're dealing with Mercury here. So if we're looking at what kind of energy that's passing on to Mercury is how you communicate to your authentic self in these areas of your life. We also have at the same time Mars in Cancer trining Saturn in Pisces. Again, your long-term legacy of Saturn being there, it's going to have raised up a lot of fears, a lot of worries, but getting you to focus on them and work out how you're going to step in line with what Saturn needs is you committing to yourself, you stepping into your own authority in this space, and testing whether you the direction that you want to go in, as well as trining Mars of your one-to-one relationships. What is it that you need for your motivation and your drive from the outside, from the one-to-one relationships that you have that are facilitating how you communicate and what kind of communities that you want to be in. So those are all the aspects that I'm going to talk about. And they just want to do a bit of energy work. And then it might be that they want some more cards. Let's shuffle for a little bit longer, and then we'll figure out where these cards want to go. As I said, 5 piles. So the energies are going to be moving these cards around for a little bit in strange and unusual ways. And we just got to roll with it. Okay, we've got the King and Queen of Swords going on here, guys. Okay. So we've got for the energy of interesting. My finger was moving like upwards from the solar plexus to the head of the Emperor card. The Emperor card is the Aries card of moving this solar plexus energy to the head space. Aries rules the head. So we've got the 10 of Wands, and we've got the 4 of Cups, and then we've got the Emperor card. So it feels like you felt very overworked, overburdened, and not being able to see the hard work that you've been doing, or that there are the results at the end of the table, end of the road, that there just felt like a lot of responsibility. This is linked into your 4th house, that you haven't perhaps been able to enjoy your private life, enjoy your home, because you've been doing lots of different things. But we've also got the 4 of Cups, which I always use the phrase comparison is the thief of joy, of just feeling in a state of a lack, looking outside of yourself and comparing yourself to these upright cups that you feel like you don't have, and just there being a bit of stagnant energy, and not being able to get out of a certain perspective, that this Ace of Cups is coming in, this sense of renewal, moving you into a space of appreciating what it is that you have and your own capabilities. So yeah, I think you can see that the cards are wanting to go on the road opener candle. And just interesting, you probably can't see the words, but these two have gone by the exit sign. So the Emperor card, as I said, this is the Aries card. This is the King of Kings. This is really being in line with your own sovereignty. That all of this Aries energy is getting you in touch with your ability to make the right decisions, and have a sense of adulting. And this is really about getting in touch with your own authority. Here we're very burdened, and we've got the 4 of Cups of feeling like you don't have enough. And the Emperor coming along is really letting you know that you are a part of your community, you are important, and that you have a lot of internal authority that is being revealed during this time of, as I said, like there's a sense of leadership in your ability and the way that you possess yourself, that you've got so much going on in an angular house. So this is 1st, 4th, 7th and 10th, that there's a shift, there's a real shift happening, that is, it may feel uncomfortable, of just knowing that you are in command in your situation, but Mercury's journey through here is helping you get in touch with that by providing wisdom and inspiration and linking up all these energies that have been going through Aries together very, very quickly. We have on the 26th of March, when Mercury is conjunct Chiron. And this is also when Mars has now moved into Cancer and the moon is in Gemini. We've got the Wheel of Fortune and the Hanged Man in reverse. So this is a change of fates. This is clear, like so much about karmic clearing has been coming up, that I really feel that you're clearing out during this time stuck energy that is not only just linked to you, your lineage, your ancestors, your past lives. All of that stuff is being cleared out. All those wounds, those pains that have maybe got in the way of being self-sabotaging, of being cleared out, and the wheel is now turning upright. This is also a Jupiter card, and Mercury's going to be talking to Jupiter later on, that there's a real shift in gear, because we've got the Hanged Man in reverse, which means you may have felt in a state of limbo, but you're in receipt of divine information. That in the reverse position, you've changed, you've had more perspectives come in the upright position. In the reverse position, this is when that limbo period is ending, and you are then able to transmute that information that you've been learning in this limbo area of your life, limbo phase of your life. We have for Mercury conjunct Jupiter on the 27th or 28th of March. We've got the Lovers card. For the Lovers card, for me, even though we've got this could be romantic, I don't tend to read romance in these collective readings. That if a specific question comes up in a private reading, then that's I will lean more into this, but I don't want to limit things. But yeah, Mars is conjunct the moon in your 7th house, but that's friendship, business, as well as romantic. That the wisdom that's coming through with that Mars of how your emotional needs and your nourishments that you need from your one-to-one relationships also can be with the universe. That the wisdom, that information that's feeding into the wisdom that's coming through from Mercury and Jupiter is here to help you make better decisions in the long term, because the Lovers card, Gemini card, about as I said, being able to make decisions based on each part of who you are. We've got the masculine and the feminine here, as well as the spirit. So the way I see the human body, we've got the human existence, we have the feminine, masculine, and the neutral within us that helps us be fluid, that helps us bring all those things together in order to make the right decisions. So that's the kind of elevation and leveling up and wisdom that Jupiter can bring for you in your home life, in your private sense of who you are, of really getting you grounded in your authentic self, your soul's authentic self, rather than this impulse led part of Aries energy that can be quite conflict based. The Emperor isn't about conflict. The Emperor is about being very sure of themselves and knowing that they have their own inner sovereignty. And I love how the Lovers card, about being able to make the right decisions now that you're moving out of this limbo space, of having gained new perspectives, that you're able to move forward to facilitate yourself, because we are dealing with Jupiter here, which is a long-term transit. It's not going to be here for another 12 years of that Aries area of your life. On the 30th of March, this is the conjunction with Vesta. So we've got okay, so they've moved it around to the Queen of Swords and the Six of Cups. Vesta and Mercury, tending to your own half in your own half in your home. So the Queen of Swords, she's gone through some stuff. She's had a difficult time. You see there's sort of storm clouds, and her head is above the clouds. But she's also, now that she's gone through the stuff, she's very sure of who she is and how she thinks. She's the only queen who's not facing us. She's facing away, facing her own direction. She has clarity of mind. We also have the King of Swords, of this ability to know your own truth and be very sure of it. And we have the Six of Cups, which is about being able to think fondly about the past, gifts coming from the past. Again, I was sort of linking, Capricorn, you know, I've been talking with you about this Aries energy for a while, and I really feel that there is a lot of clearing specifically for you because we're dealing with the fourth house, of clearing a lot of karmic stuff. And now with this tending to that flame, that hearth of your ancestors, for some of you, that there's now a clarity and understanding of who you are outside of that, especially because the Six of Cups has come up, which is about the past, which is why I'm really focusing on this area, and that Vesta is very much linked into ancestral tradition as well, of tending to that familial home where most people would live through generations in the same home, of really being mindful and caring about the energy transfer from the ancestors. And I feel like with this clearing, with getting in touch of your own autonomy and your own authority, is facilitating, as I said, that shift and change with the ancestors, and being able to look, and it just doesn't have to be ancestors, it can be your parents as well, your family, because a lot of our trauma is stored in the fourth house, that there's clearing, and we're now able to open up with that clarity and be able to see the past in a different way, and that the past is offering up gifts in order to help heal what's been going on for you on a personal level, and bring you into your own sense, you know, because they're cheering us on. They want us to be in our own power, because a lot of them weren't able to do so. At the same time, this is dealing with your third house and your seventh house of how you communicate in your one-to-one partnerships. The more clarity and understanding that we have in our home life, the more we're able to cut through the nonsense in our one-to-one relationships, and not mask who we are, and really this Emperor energy just keeps screaming at me, not screaming, that's quite an intense word. For the energies moving forward, we've got the Chariot card, which is the Cancer card. We are dealing with Mars in Cancer, and we've got the Victory card. So whatever's clearing, we've got the speed. The Chariot is one of the fastest cards in the deck, but it's about being in balance, about being able to move through the world despite whatever chaos may be coming up, with strength, with all the tools that you need, because they don't have any reins to keep these sphinxes in line. The sphinxes know where they're going. They've got stars, astrological symbols, the moons, getting in, knowing the knowledge and cycles and understanding of the world and of who you are, and being able to move through the day-to-day with command of your own authority and sense of movement, weathering the storm, essentially. Because the other side of this we have is the Six of Wands. And the Wands is the victory. This card is the Victory card. That the clearing out in your home space is leading you to a space of victory. That can just be at home, that can be in your one-to-one relationships, or it can be in general. Because when we get our home life in order, and that with Aries being there, can be very impulsive, can be a very combative space, but it's also, what are you defending long term? What is it, how is it that you want to truly be your authentic self in your home? Right, I'm going to pull a card from the numerology deck to see what messages we've got. Financial discipline come through. Yeah, getting to grips with that. I can see also, you know, thinking about the fourth house again and linking it into all those different energetic ties, about say having financial discipline has been an issue, or being too financially disciplined, that these are elements that could be linked into those energies that you're now clearing, and you're now getting to be not bound by these things, or getting in step with them in order to promote yourself and be your own individual self. Different messages there for different people. You know, receive what resonates, guys. and gals. Why not? Yeah, I need, what's a better word of a non-gendered way of saying folks? Receive what resonates, folks. That just sounds weird. Let's get one more card from, because I do try, when they put cards at the beginning of the journey, I do try and see what cards want to come up for where we're headed and what we're doing. We've got healing. Fast healing here. Okay, now I'm going to pull some cards. I hope that was I thought that made sense. They've put the healing card with the individuality and the speed and the victory over the top of the Emperor, really bringing in the strength of that card. Right, so now I'm going to pull a couple of cards, potentially, from the First Light Tarot. This is a mixture of major arcana, question cards. Let's see if that one wants to come out again. Question cards and statement cards. I always try and I will, if easy for me to say, I always try and pull cards until we get a major arcana, so you're not just getting statement cards and question cards, although they have often very, very helpful. It's not me oh my goodness, Chloe, be quiet. I will. I hope that makes sense to you all from everything that I've said. What should I do? So there is movement with Chariot. There is going to different spaces. Interesting. Yeah, it's not, you know, if it was the Six of Swords, there are other journey cards that can mean relocation, but the Chariot card can also mean relocation. You've got a Jupiter transit in your 4th house. That can mean expansion of home, but also expansion in the way of getting you in line with what it is that you really need. A sense of opportunities in the home can very much be a thing. That's too many. Karma. Dominant effect. They're like, no, it's not too many. Harmony, bridges, joy. Okay, that's kind of really like confirming what I was saying about the karmic clearing, and that clearing is, you know, you've got the victory card coming out. That clearing is okay. So they've put these 2 cards, which again can be linked to energies from the ancestors. We've got the karma, the healing. I wonder if you guys can hear the rain. It's been raining on and off. We've got Financial discipline, what should I do? The Emperor, get in line with your own individuality, your own sense of yourself. The movement space can lead to harmony, bridges, joy, making the right decisions. I like the Queen and King together. There's a real balance of your energies. A movement out of limbo, things changing, and the victory card coming through for you guys. Right, I'm now going to pull, put that there. I love how that's crowning. I'm going to pull some cards from the Oracle of the Rising Sun. Just see what inspiration's coming through during this time. I think a lot is going to be revealed in this very short transit that is going to help you get into these spaces, and that yeah. Excitement. Mercury in Gemini. That's not going to happen for a couple of months, but I like that Gemini represents choices. That's in your area of work, health and routine. So, yeah, like that for you guys. Let's see what else wants to come through, and then I'm going to wrap this up. Resourcefulness. Having to be what? So what is that? That's the Sun in Cancer. Having to be resourceful. Having to be with that, all that burden and that sense of not feeling like you've got enough, that there hasn't been a sense of abundance. Not that there's anything wrong. I love being resourceful. It's what I like. I feel like that's a good way of being, but it can be draining. But also can teach you so much about who you are and what it is that you need and what it is that you want. Let's see. I've got discrimination. I just want to see if there's one card, rather than just my slippy fingers, that wants to come out to play. There we go. We've got speculation and lust. Now this is lust for life, and this is making a bet and it turning out all right, and being got discrimination of what it is that where you're putting your eggs in one basket. But we've got the Wheel of Fortune. We've got some major arcana, so there it's showing that the tide is turning, and you're going to be able to make choices about what it is that you want to do. That's what discrimination is about. And yeah, speculation is an interesting one. I just want to read from the book because this might be a message for somebody. Below the Cancerian crab, its claws outstretched, touches the alchemical circle depicting the 4 elements that blend in universal creation. In the center, an eye looks for opportunity. The king and queen signify marriage, tradition, and stability. Again, that's sort of, I don't like to read love readings, but that could be something on the cards of getting a more stable, committed relationship, and being able to have support in that area of your life, or bringing together and being in harmony of the energies within you in order to then where do you want to go? There we go, Capricorn. I really hope that reading helped. Yeah, interesting one. Lots of, I just feel that things will change quickly. You're clearing out a lot of stuff, and just be really open. Really be open to what's going on, different things. Sorry, that sounded so vague. Anyway, Capricorn, I really hope this resonated, and I appreciate your time watching this. I really do appreciate the energy transfer. So Capricorn, be well until we meet again.